dowsing field, both for locating water wells, potable water wells for both city, county, local residents. He's gone to college, in California, and Pennsylvania. He has enough degrees to basically almost finish two masters, and he's the father of 5 monsters like me. My evil twin will be here tomorrow. He's just going to love that. And for those of you who do not know anything about dowsing, you're going to learn a lot today. He's very well known for his work in the dowsing field, both for locating water wells, potable water wells for both city, county, local residents. And he's also been working in the last 5 years on buried treasure projects. He's also been hired to work on mineral location work, which we've completed several times. And he's been written up in the newspaper across the United States and the world. Last year, the Japanese came in to do a documentary on both of us, and it aired last June in Japan. It's comparable to our 60 Minutes. So in Japan, I guess they call it Hayoya, okay? So for those of you who haven't seen the documentary, you get to see him live. Are there any dowsers here today? And for those of you dowsers who are here, if you keep your hand up, Lewis can start his lecture. We've got some free divining rods for you. Since we only have a few, keep your hand up or you won't get a free divining rod. Oh, you sneaks. I saw that. You freebies, you. Hold on and I'll put Lewis on. I think he'll enjoy his lecture. I will mention real quick, he has such a limited time here that he's not going to take questions. So come to his workshop. He'll answer your questions. All right? Here's Lewis.
All right, now which mic am I using? One right here? Okay, let's get all unwired here and I'll be all right. Okay, be all right? Hope I don't cut you off. Okay. My name is Louis Matascia. I'm a professional land surveyor, as Jeanette said. And I have a few items here that I would like to bring up real quick, and I'm going to cover a lot of things. Now, I'll be here all the time. That's the reason I'd like to have questions later. You catch me anywhere you want. I will do my best. If you have some treasure you want located, I'll locate it for you. I'll do the best I can. First, I want to point out the dowsing devices and the dowsing table is Greg Storick, and he's in the rear. And you can go back there. Greg will help you out. He's a past president of the American Society of Dowsers, and he was very helpful. Now, he has these charts back there that I just borrowed. So I would suggest that you take a good look at these because the dowsing part, and I noticed a lot of speakers are dowsers because they bring out that pendulum every time. Now, if you look at this chart very closely, you'll discover the fact that the dowser's over here on the end, and he is consciously awake at the same time he's asleep. And you'll see each one of these cases, this was done on an electronic device to determine what the dowser was doing at the time he was dowsing or holding a device. And I would suggest that you look at this because it's extremely significant, because he's still consciously here, and I can hold a rod and you could be talking to me and the rod will be reacting to your questions at the same time I'm carrying on the conversation with someone else. So I think this chart is extremely significant because once I saw it, then I realized what was taking place. So take a good look at this in the back with Greg there. And then this chart he put together is very good too. And this is one concerning the fact that you've got to be balanced. And if you start thinking different thoughts, this starts to become unbalanced, wishful thinking and so forth. So take a good look at his table there. The other thing I want to point out, can you hear me in the back all right? If you can't hear me, please, I'm okay? Good, because sometimes this thing has a problem up here. First, I'm going to tell you some items here, and that all my opinions and experiences has no reflection on global sciences, and they're not responsible for the things I come up with. So I just want you to know that it's my deal. So if anything is I say, you come to me, don't go to Global Sciences, and he's not responsible, because some of the things I say I know are quite different. The other thing I have experimented with since April is Pamela's unit here. And I've been using this quite a while. We're talking about survival and all sorts of things. I take this everywhere I go, and I use it all the time. So if you want to know what it does, you see Pamela back there in the center of the room, and she'll tell you what it does, and you'll be amazed, because I've been amazed already. And I work with a lot of tools, and that particular one I'm extremely satisfied with, and I think you will too if you look into it. So let's go on with a few items here. I passed around some crystals. I want to give you an idea of what happens with a few crystals, and I've done this before. This crystal is a very powerful crystal. It has about 13 sides, and scientists in California made it. And I want to show you what it will do, to give you an idea. Now, you have that little bag with some crystals in it. They're yours. And I want to show you what they will do. So if you take that little bag and just hold those crystals in your hand, I'm going to demonstrate. I always like to show and tell all these things because a lot of people don't believe it. So we just give you a sort of a start, and then you can go from there and get your book tied to the crystal. Now this, you just hold those, because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And this all came from the scientist. He could change your pH of water and a number of other things with it. So what I do is I get on the phone and I heal people with it. I do all kinds of things. But I want to show you what we do today. So if you hold that crystal, now I want you to close your eyes, and then I rotate the crystal clockwise. But first, I pulse out air out of the nose 3 times. Remember this. Now we'll rotate the crystal into the group, and at the same time, I am going to say there's a flower or a rose. Let's take a rose and sit it about 12 feet out from you. Now you can close your eyes if you want. You can leave them open, makes no difference. Now the rose is coming in closer, about 6 feet from your face, or your nose or your head. Now it's 4 feet from distance from your head. Okay? Now it's 3 feet. Two feet. That's 1 foot from your face. Are we getting any response? Anyone else have anything to tell me? It's 6 inches from your face. Are we getting any response? Anybody have any remote idea? There we go. Right. I called up a lady in Florida. She says, "What did you learn at the California conference?" I said, "Well," so I did the same thing. And she smelled the rose in Florida over the telephone, and I was doing the same thing. I said, "Well, now I don't have to send you flowers." Oh, she said, "That's cheap, 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 cheap," you know. She really gave me. But I'm saying here, you'll notice what we're doing. Now you say, what does this have to do with treasure hunting? It has a lot to do with treasure hunting, because the mind is at work here. The mind has to do with almost everything we're doing. So treasure hunting, when you use a tool, a metal detector, or any of those electronic instruments, I will guarantee to you that that instrument becomes a dowsing tool in the hands of the person who's using it. I will guarantee that 100%. Now, a lot of times I'll send my people out, and they'll look for a pipe for a property corner, and they walk all around, and they don't find it. Well, I said, "Well, then why don't you look right here?" And I'm standing on it. I said, "Why don't you look right here?" So I back up a little bit, and there it is. So you see, the crystal you have with you all the time. Where is it? Right in your fingers. This is a crystal. And all you have to do is put one finger on top and put the thumb along the side, and you can do the same thing that we can with this $1,000 crystal I have sitting right here. Do you see what I mean? In other words, these are things that you have to sort of use in the field and experiment with to become a believer. Now, I'm not asking you to know everything about electronic instruments. I'm just trying to say when you hook the human being up with the electronic instrument, you're going to get a better result. I could go through all kinds of explanations with a doctor who sent out papers, and the papers he sent out, they came back with extremely poor results. Subconsciously, those people knew that doctor, and they gave him poor results. They gave it to another doctor to send out the same papers, and when he came back, they had excellent results because the people subconsciously didn't like the doctor that sent it out the first time. Now, this goes with a treasure partner. Now, what I'm going to do is go through a few items here in my book. I wanted to print these and give them out, but I had a trouble on the plane trying to get all this material here, so I brought some with me, and I have given it out as far as I can. So I'm going to go through about 20, but you can write on the back of those sheets, and then I will take the sheet here. I will go through that one next, and so forth. The title of my subject, of course, is Secrets in Treasure Hunting, and I'm going to give you some of the secrets that I know about, and I will just about guarantee to you that you will find things if you sort of come into what I'm saying here. When you arrive at the site, do not get out of your car quickly, but relax and collect your thoughts until you feel ready to move. And this is number one. Don't drive up to a site and jump out of your car like a chicken with its head cut off and run around the car looking for something. You just got to stay there and relax a little bit. You'll find out your results are going to be a lot better. I would suggest that you subscribe to a newsletter from a treasure operation or a magazine. And why? Because I want you to know how many lies the Treasure magazine puts out. Because one man has written about 40 years of lies in treasure stories, and they're very bad. So I want you to learn how to pick out a false story. Now, how can you do that? Well, you can douse it out, or you just read the story and see how it feels for you. Now, you got to meditate on what you want. Daily meditation is a must. I'm trying to combine the person with the instruments, and then that's the way success will go. So you meditate. You get up in the morning. Don't get out of bed right away. Just sit there and figure out what you want. All right? Avoid treasure clubs and organizations. They're infiltrated with U.S. agents, police, and so forth. And I'm serious as I can be. They put one entire treasure club into jail in the South because they infiltrated in it, and they were going to do some treasure hunting. And if you even talk on the phone, they'll get you for talking on the phone of preparing to do something. So the best way to do it is just get one partner or two or whatever it is and go that route. Stay away from the organization things. Now, the next thing you've got to come up with is what sensors can detect from ground level to sky probes. I want to tell you how good the sensors are, and maybe some of you already know, they've already talked about it here. The light bulbs, they can be 1.5 miles away, and they can hear everything I'm telling you through the light bulbs. They have a device to do that. If your TV is plugged into the wall or your telephone's plugged into the wall, they can tell that too. All it has to be is there. It's a sending receiver immediately. They can tell exactly what's going on. They can hear all the conversations in the house. And you say, well, what difference does it make? Well, it makes a difference if you're trying to keep a little bit secret. It's very difficult to keep everything secret. But the sky probes, for example, they have a sensor that has picked up all the gold deposits in the world, and it is about a stack 2 feet thick of every one of these things located in Arizona, New Mexico, throughout the United States and the whole world. So if you think you've discovered something, it's on that satellite photography. Now, we are working on one right now, the infrared material, and we picked it up on satellite. So I'm just telling you, it's there. Now, the biggest thing that happens with people, they can't relocate themselves. Now, this has happened in at least 99% of the cases that I deal with. Now, I want to tell you, I have a network of people who call me from all over the United States. I created this network about 4 years ago. When I put an ad in the Treasure magazine, I would locate treasure for 3% of the recovered find. So a lot of people call me up, sent me material. I've been working on Captain Kidd treasure. Spanish treasure is 400 years old. Someone buried some money out in the front yard. They don't know where it is, so I tell them how to find it, all that sort of thing. I map down it too. Now, if you're going to locate treasure and you found it and you want to go back there, get yourself a little Loran system. Now, that large sheet of paper I have there, I will go through that in a minute. That gives you systems of locating treasure. I drew it up and I keep adding to it. One of the latest things I've added to it is a portable polygraph where you can hook it up to the trees and get a response from the trees to let you know if there is any gold buried nearby.
Did you run that by me again?
Okay, he wants me to run that by him again. A portable polygraph, okay? You hook it up to the leaves. Now, this came from the scientists in California who played with the plants. I don't know if you remember his name. I don't remember it offhand. Cleve Baxter, right. Okay. So you hook it up, the probes to the plants, and then you start questioning the plant. And when you question the plant will tell you where the gold is, because it's been there all the time anyway, you see. So that picture's in that large diagram.
The tree, too.
What?
The tree, like something's been there a while.
The tree, yeah, right. It's also,
How deep it is, if it's really deep.
okay, most treasure is not buried deep, but the Spanish did have a system. I will get into that later. If you have some Spanish treasure, I will tell you all of them have death traps, and they're very difficult, but they do have it. So you have to think about that part. So use a Loran system or whatever. Press a button, you can get back within 60 feet of where you were when you found the bar of silver in the desert. So remember that. A lot of people can't do that. So they only cost a couple of $100 if you're working on that type of thing. Okay, now the next one I want to show you, and I want to pass this around, so please return it. This is taking, now I would copy this down because most of you don't have it. This works. Now I'm going to show you the photographs here in color. Take a Polaroid, SX70 Polaroid camera. You have now to buy a UV filter, ultraviolet filter. Now it doesn't fit the lens, but just tape it on there. The sun comes up over here early in the morning. Take it at 90-degree angle to the sun, or in the afternoon, 90-degree angle in the afternoon.
Does that mean pointing at it?
You point the camera at the site that you're looking for, just so long as it's 90 degrees to the sun, okay? Now that diagram is also on that big sheet I passed out. Here is a deposit of a very large gold deposit. I'm going to pass that around. It looks like a skyrocket coming out of the ground with a cap over it. Now I copied the Polaroid picture and I'm going to pass this around. The one next to it is a large treasure. We had 3 photographs of that one. I went to Central City when I skied. I got a 100-foot halo over the gold mine in 3 different directions. So I want you to know it works. I know people have already recovered gold. Man flew over this in an airplane about 300 feet to 500 feet high, took the Polaroid shot, a big rainbow came right out of the ground, right up to the plane.
Pot of gold is it?
And that's true, absolutely true. There's no doubt about it, that the rainbow comes right out of the gold. Now, how does this happen? I will go through that diagram and show you what happens and why this rainbow comes out of that part. So would you take this and just pass it around? Those are the kind of images you're going to get on a Polaroid. A UV filter is an ultraviolet filter. You can buy them for $1 in any camera shop because he has a box of all these goodies in there. And I used to go through and buy give them away at all the lectures. I gave mine all the way to the people at Danville. I don't have any more right now. I exhausted the fellow where I was. Associate only with positive thinking, treasure hunters, or dowsers. I'm going to say this. If you have a negative person, just walk away. Forget it. I mean, I'm serious. Forget it. Go get another one. Because negativity is probably the worst thing you can deal with in any of this operation. Of course, I'm going to stick my neck out and say avoid all negative people. Now, you're going to avoid a lot of people there. Now, I do. I really do. People come up to me and give me a little static. They're on the bottom of my list, you know, and they've dropped off the list. UV filter. Don't go buying a skylight filter or anything else. It has to have UV written on the side of the filter.
Sometimes they have numbers too.
Yeah, just so it's got UV on there, okay?
It's not real dark.
What's that?
It's not real dark.
No, this filter is not a dark filter. It is clear. A lot of people put them on a camera just to protect the lens, okay? Know the limitations of each piece of equipment you're going to use, and for goodness sakes, field test it. If you have to do some field, if you want to look for coins and jars of coins and all this, do it. But make a field test in your backyard, bury the stuff in there, and test the equipment on it. Now, I'll tell you something else, as long as I'm in this category. There were a number of dowsers in Georgia. They buried some silver. Oh, by the way, that photograph that I passed back there on the back side is a bar of silver, was found by a gentleman in Illinois. He found 30 bars of it. Well, I had it in my van when they robbed me by gunpoint here about a month ago. I lost my bar of silver, so I can't show it to you today. That's the only thing I've got left is a photograph. So anyway, that's what that is there in that picture on the other side of those Polaroid shots. Okay, let's see where I was. You have to learn the electronic equipment, what it will do. Now in Georgia, they buried the silver or gold. Didn't make any difference. It gives you about the same deal. All day long, they doused the location of the silver, and during the day, it gave an elliptical pattern. 156 paces north and south, and 12 paces east and west. And that's why you have trouble dowsing precious metal, because you can't pinpoint it. All right, I've hidden some gold up here on the stage. Anyone got a little rod around there, those little rods I gave out? Know how to use those rods or a pendulum? Tell me where the gold is that's hidden up on this stage here a minute, and we'll see if you can hit it pinpointed, or you can, how many feet are you off from the gold? And then I'll tell you why. Just give it a try here in a minute and see if you can find where I've hidden this gold. Use infrared photographs. They're very useful because the temperature difference between the existing ground and where the gold's buried or the money, even a small jar is going to give you a hot spot. So that particular infrared photograph, and you have to learn how to do all this. I'm not going to get into how to do it right now. Now, if you're looking for, okay, anyone got any answers yet?
Bags over there.
Over there.
I got it on the podium.
On the podium? Anyone else got anything? She got some in the bag.
Underneath that tape.
You got over here.
It's on the chair behind you.
On the chair behind me. Okay. Well, there it is. You see? And you know why you miss it? I'm going to tell you why when we get to the diagram on the back of one of these drawings. And that's the reason you have trouble locating silver, gold, and anything else like that. I'm going to get to that in a minute. First thing you got to understand is that there are ghosts almost every one of these sites. I will guarantee that because we have a crew out in the desert now, and I've worked all over the United States with people, and one of them, they saw the people walking around with no legs. The Spanish cut their legs off and buried him right there. And the ghosts are still there. The ghost of the last crew, they'd start off with these eyeballs about 300 yards, and they'd come screaming in right up to your face, and they'd stop right here, and they would glow. Now, if that doesn't scare the pants off of you, the rock follows this lady around all the time, just bouncing around behind her as she's going around the thing. Now, this is fine, and we can laugh about it here, but I'll tell you, put you in the desert 7.5 miles and have this thing come out at midnight, let me tell you, you need a whole roll of toilet paper before it's over with. It really gets to you. I might as well tell you, I was looking for gold with a geologist in North Carolina. And that's all. I could probably tell you 100 of them, but a lot of people have 100 more. I went to Carolina, and we checked the streams. I had a topo map, and I was checking off every stream that we crossed for the gold. And we bring the bucket up. I sent the geologist. She's a lady. She's tougher than I am. So she came back out. We checked the bucket, throw it out, go down the next one. We did this. Then I said, well, we're not doing so good here. We can't get a trace of gold anywhere in any of these streams, so why don't we just head on south? About noon. Now, we left at 9 o'clock that morning at Greensboro. About noon, I'm driving down the road. And Jesus Christ, the sign in front of me says Greensboro. I said, Ashley, I said, we just left this place. She says, yep, we did, didn't we? Now, I'm a surveyor, and I knew where I was. We lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 minutes or an hour. And I don't know where in the world we went, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I wasn't driving to Greensboro. I just left there at 9 o'clock. And I did not make a circuit road either, because I had the map in front of me, and I knew exactly where I was going. I knew where I left and every spot of every stream. So when you start hunting for gold, screwball things are going to happen to you. And I really mean it. And sometimes your party will disappear. And this happened to a friend of mine out in the Eastern Shore. He comes in, he had a little piece of this Captain Kidd's map. So he goes in the cave, he said, I think we got the, he said, let's look around. He looked around, and all of a sudden, one of these stones start floating out the entrance of the cave. And then he said, well, let's just dig in the floor. And all of a sudden, his son just shot out the cave, went into the boat, broke the seat, but it didn't hurt him. And they said, well, I guess we're getting a message, so they left. The other time, Oscar Branson and his wife were in a cave, and the ghost picked her up and threw her out of the cave, and she was injured. They are very powerful. We had 11 people started on a site in Arizona. We ended up with 2. The rest of them couldn't take the ghost. Then another story with the ghost was the fact that the Indian needed some money, so he asked a lady to loan him some, so she did. She said, I'll pay you back. So the Indian sometime later brought back a bar of gold. Well, when she took it to the bank, all of a sudden everybody got excited. So went to the lady, she told him where they got it to the Indian, and the Indian didn't want to go back to the cave. So finally talked the Indian going. He got to the cave, he said, but I'm not going in. So this Indian chief met these 2 men. It came with him. It was a car dealer and a banker. And he said, the gold is not for you. So the car dealer went home and got his .45 pistol and came back. He didn't know he was dealing with a ghost. Walks into the cave, and this time he's met with a priest. He said, the gold's not for you, and took his .45 pistol and broke it in half and gave it back to him. So I'm telling you that the power of these people is really, really real, and you got to make peace with them. And if you make peace with them, then they'll let you take, because every site we work with, okay, I'll give you one more jump. Jeanette and I work together. Now, if you have 2 people psychically working together, we think it creates a third mind of infinite intelligence. We have done this over and over and over again. One day we were sitting there, 26 people show up. She can see them, I can't. 3 scientists show up. He described that picture I just sent you to a T, the one in the Polaroid with a cap on top. He described that before we even got it. You see? They'll sit there talking with themselves, giving Jeanette information, she gives it to me, and then bingo. She sometimes gets all the information and talks to the people who buried the gold before I even come over to sit down for the session. These are the kind of things that happen. They're really weird. But she said, I talked to this guy last night, and he was doing this and this and this, and he says, you got to build a monument to all these people when you get the gold out? I said, wait a minute, we haven't even located it yet. He said, well, they'll tell you where it is. But you see, she goes very fast, and the information comes in so fast, it's hard to disseminate how to even write it down enough to know where you're going. Okay, I told you about making a test site. You've got to make a test site, test your equipment. Now here's the deal. Trust no one when you're searching for gold. Now this say, well, what am I going to do about my partner? Well, let me tell you what partners do sometimes, and then you have to work this out. 2 men were working on a site, they were digging. So one seeds the other one with some drugs, calls the cops, and hauls him away so he can finish the digging and get the gold. That gold triggers some sort of release mechanism up here in the brain. One day they found that gold, Oscar was in this. The man pulls a gun out, and he's going to blow these other 3 men away. So that he didn't know one was missing. He sneaked up behind him and hit him with a shovel. They hauled him off to the hospital, dumped him in the emergency room, and called up on the phone and says, look, you got a man out there with a concussion, would you take care of him? So you see what happens? Something clicks the moment you find it. So you've got to really know your people well. And the more people involved in a search, the more problems you're going to have. Now, Mel Fisher lost his number of people, boat capsized, turned upside down. I can tell you another story about Mel Fisher and how he really found that, and a story that went with it. It was very dangerous. I don't want to put it on tape, but I'll tell you personally if you want to know about it. Okay, when I was in Arizona working on a job, we had 7 government agencies watching us. The blimp, every time we went to the field, 15 minutes later, it comes, chuck, 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 the airplane was coming over top, checking us out. Then a high-flying sensor plane came over to check us out. And then on the ground, they sent some agents out to check us out. They were terrible agents. You know, we knew exactly what they were. There's no question about it. Because we were in the middle of nowhere, and here you run into a couple sitting up there on a 4-wheel drive with a dog. He came over to sniff my gear to see if I had drugs. So whenever you go out on these things, you're going to run into this kind of a problem. In Carolina, we were working on the treasure, was buried 300 yards off the railroad track, about 97 pots of gold and treasure from the Civil War. So I dowsed it out, checked it out. Man from down there went to check it out, and just as soon as he got on the site, 15 minutes later, sheriff drives up and chases him off. So he got permission to go on private land to ask the farmer, and he tried to chase him off of there. What I'm telling you is, they know where all the gold and treasure's buried. And they have sensors set out. And when you get near it, they'll know you're there. And one area in I don't know, it's New Mexico or Arizona, park rangers carry Uzis up here. They're protecting a big deposit of gold over there. Now you say, who's using this gold? Well, the CIA drove off about 19 truckloads of gold one time. So they've got plenty of money. They can do anything they want. Okay, gold can be detected by a chemical test. Let's say you buried some in a house. If you test the soil outside that house, and it's been buried there 50 years, the radiation has affected the soil, and you can tell if the gold's in that area within 80 feet. So if you just make a chemical test front, back, and rear, bingo, you know it's there. Now, I just told you about the 36 east and west of dowsing for silver. The other thing that was very significant, and I want to point this out, and a lot of people do not believe me, the metal detectors go dead during certain hours of the day. You can put your silver out in the backyard and bury it and walk out there around 12 to 1 o'clock or whatever it is in some of those hours. Bingo, you can't find it. And you say, well, boy, this detector's not working. I'm going to tell you something. When the sun rays come up and it hits that radiation from that precious metal, it starts to go out like a lawn sprinkler, and that detector will not pick it up. And that's what they found out. The detectors went dead at certain times of day. So you've got to find out when your detector goes dead. If you go out during a certain time of day, you've got to know when that detector is going to go dead, because you're just walking around doing nothing. You could walk right over. I picked up a gold ring right behind a guy that walked right in front of me one day on the beach.
What were you saying about 36 east and west?
It's about 36 feet east and west with an elliptical path, and about 468 feet north and south. When you are dowsing for it, that's what they got. So you have to really know that this precious metal does funny things when the sun rays come up in the morning. Douse it at night. Put it in your backyard and douse it at night. Bingo! Right on target. Because all the rays come right back together. You with me? Vertical, right. Now I'll show you how to douse for it, but you don't douse for the gold. Now the other way to do it is, once you have a site, you take a soil auger and drill a hole in the ground, and then send a little detector down about 1 inch in diameter and let it go down the hole, and then if it blows its top, you know you're on top of it, then dig the hole. But don't go dig a big hole because it's not worth the effort. It's very hard work. Death traps are always associated with Spanish treasure sites, bar none. They'll kill you every time. Okay, if you do find gold coins, don't sell more than 2 to some little coin shop, because they have to report everything they're doing. If you need help in how to move your gold or whatever it is, I'll tell you someone who can do that. I have several sources, and they can do it. I'll tell you the system. I'll put you in touch with the experts who know how to move it. You can take coins, put them flat out on the ground or on the edge. You're going to get a difference in your detector system. So you have to understand, if you put a jar of coins out and put an electronic device on it, will not pick it up. It's insulated. So you've got to have 2 systems right away you work with in order to pick up that jar of coins. So learn map dowsing. That's one thing I love about map dowsing. You can go search an entire map, pinpoint it close as you can, then make a sketch or a photograph, and then you can pinpoint it even better. Now, what is the biggest problem you've got in a recovery of all treasure? Bar none. What is the biggest problem you've got? And when you another human being, because he's sitting up on the shore. Okay, same deal. See? Don't go hunting gold, hunt the container in the gold. Douse for the container. You say, well, what is a container? Doesn't make any difference. Just douse for a container that has some valuable items in it or something. I guarantee you, if you bury gold in a box in the backyard and douse for the gold, you'll get one answer. You douse for the container, you'll hit it. That's the true secret of dowsing for gold. Go for the container. I had a talk to the Danville people, and I had money buried in all these containers. I said, if you find out which one the money's in, I'll give it to you. And finally, I said, don't douse for the coins, douse for the plastic bag. Bingo! They all got money. I dumped it in their lap every time they got something. When they doused for the plastic bag that contained the coins. Also, there's something very interesting. I've got 10 more minutes, so I'm going to try to move a little faster. Become a Skywarn volunteer. Now, the U.S. Weather Bureau trains you, and you only have to go in for a day session. Let me tell you, they have basic classes, hurricane classes, winter storms, and new technologies. And it is worth every minute of it. They have good, qualified people, and I went to all of these. And I learned things. I had meteorology course, but I'm telling you one thing, this was really, really good. And all around the country, just call the weather, say, hey, you got any of these classes going? And said, yeah, why don't you come on over? Go. Take your time and go, because the people that are dying in these storms, they tell you who is killed first. And most of them are the younger set. They think they're so physically strong, you know, and they drive out in these big storms, and the first thing you know, they get wiped out. So you learn what happens to all these fronts when they come in. One thing I learned, I'm going to tell you about it here, above all, lightning, of course, goes from cloud to cloud, goes from the ground to the cloud, and the cloud to the ground. But when you see these clouds coming out like this, the lightning will go off the tip of it. And you say, well, the storm's not going to be here for another 20 minutes. And the golfer goes around finishing up his hole. All of a sudden, that lightning comes off the top, and he's got that lightning rod held up there, and that negative charge on the ground goes right through his body and that antenna, and he's history. And the same thing in the desert, mountains, I don't care where you go. If you can't see that beginning cloud, if you see the tip of that cloud, you better start getting for cover, because that lightning it doesn't discriminate, especially in a boat. If you're caught out in the water. I've been caught in the water a lot of times. It's the U.S. Weather Bureau will give out these classes, and they're free. And you become a sky watcher. So if you live in a certain area, like for example, you give them your number and tell you how much hail is falling. See, they don't have a radar system that can tell what the size of the hail is, and these storms sometimes are only 50 miles wide. And they need people on the ground to give them intelligence data to put in their computers to tell people, hey, where are these little hurricanes? Where are these tornadoes? Where are these fronts located? They can't pin it down that close, you see. You know how many times they're wrong, and the reason they're wrong is because they don't have the equipment. They got to get an eye check. And so they have all over the Washington area, hundreds of people. They'll call me up and want to know what's happening to the ice up there. You see. Okay. Okay. I've got about, 5 minutes left? 6 minutes, okay. I have a little article here on Dr. Albert Einstein, and he taught another man how to find a hole in a dam with a dowsing rod. Now these dowsing rods, I think, you look back on the table, the little angle rods, and he taught this gentleman, and he wrote the article and put it in a magazine. So I want you to know, Jeanette here, gone. Okay, don't anybody tell Jeanette this, but she talks to Dr. Albert Einstein. That's where we get a lot of our information from. So it's a secret, so you keep it and don't tell anybody, and don't tell Jeanette. She'll get on my wire. This book contains more treasure secrets than any one book in the world. And what is it? Right. You can go to a treasure site, it'll have 444. Go to Revelations 444, it describes the site, exactly where the gold's buried. And this is the book they all use, the Jesuit priests, everybody. And I'll guarantee you, any of these things you have around, you'll be amazed at how people leave things and they refer to the Bible. And if you don't know the Bible, you've just lost billions and billions of dollars, because I guarantee you it's in that Bible. We've found that treasure site that's going around with that halo over top of it is right in here in Revelations. I can show you the exact description of the gold. And we went there, photographed it, bingo, there it was. Always hunt with a woman, treasure rather. Why? Because she is very intelligent, views everything from a different perspective. She has the innate ability to reduce a farmer's hostility to melted butter in 7 seconds. She has a microwave of her very own. I know it's very extremely to be upset about her mannerisms when her laughter intervenes. Now, why did I put that in there? Well, a lady got me in a state park to hunt all the material. They drained the lake. I said, oh boy, there's stuff all over this lake. She was a good-looking woman. I said, why don't you go up there and talk to her? My golly, she got us in that lake for a month. We hunted and pulled up rings and gold and everything else you could think of. It was amazing. Then one day, I was in a culvert dishing out the little, that's another thing you can do. All over the West, all over here. Guess where you have a sluice that's already there? All you got to do is spoon it out. It's in the pipe culverts. And then go back and sift it out. You've got yourself gold. Plenty. Because a sluice, all the pipe culverts across the highways is full of gold. Rattlers? Oh, learn to talk to the animals. I talk to them all the time. Absolutely. There's a head snake out there that's in charge, and later on I'll tell you how to do it. I talk to the deer. They come in my orchard. They don't eat anything in the orchard. They bed down there, and we get along fine. You okay? Also, I talk to the beavers, too. Okay? Let's see. I lost my track. Culvert. Take a spoon. Now, you have to send the smallest person up in the smallest culverts, of course. Put a rope on their legs so you can get them back, you know. But then one day, I was down there spooning out all this stuff down in Fredericksburg, and all of a sudden, it was snowing. It was terrible weather. And all of a sudden, this car, I could hear the car. I told this lady, go up there and butter that farmer up or something. Don't tell him I'm down here. Goes up to the top of the road, and I hear this laughter. I said, boy, that was really good. So I go up there. Guess who's up there? Another treasure hunter that lived near me. I mean, there's only 2 people out in weather like that, and it's treasure hunters, you know. So I'm just saying that that type of weather is one thing. I'm going to give a workshop. This booklet here, please, I'll pass it around if you want. But this book, I'll go into detail how to locate it. So if you want to pass this around, but please return it, if you don't mind. Let's see. Yeah, there's 2 copies here if you want to pass one over. Just as,
Does that mean one's for me?
I can't sell these books because it's copyrighted material, but I just want you to know this is the key to a lot of the secrets, okay? The other thing that I want to point out is the magnets. They put me in jail because I got involved in magnets and they lied, and that was that. Anyway, I still print the stuff anyway. Dave, is it Larmer? You here? Yeah, okay. Anyway, this material is a lecture by Dr. Jacob. You say, what's this got to do with treasure? It has a lot to do with treasure, because I consider magnets one of the greatest treasures on earth. In here, Dr. Jacob is a veterinarian, and he tells you exactly how he works on animals for 15 years. So I had a few of these, and I brought these out here. So if you need some copies, copy some of these. Maybe somebody will loan you ones, you can get copies. But talk to Dave Larimer back there about that. The other thing is about crystals. Let me see here. This was written by a laser scientist. There's a photograph on the front, and he's from Arkansas. And I experimented with my electronic equipment plus the dowsing equipment to locate crystals. Non-conductor. How did you do it? Well, first, it took me 5 years to understand how to operate my instruments. Then I combined it with the dowsing. I found the crevice, which is, and Dr. Kahn got a 51-pound crystal, which I'm holding here. So I brought it back, but I couldn't bring it here in the plane. All I got is a picture. I think that the outline in the yellow sheet is here. I want to hit one more thing before, okay. What I'll do, the time is up, so when you, there's a picture here that you might want, and that is the one with, let's see, somebody hold, yeah, back of that yellow sheet. If you want to know what that means, see me later. I will explain it to you. But that's the last diagram. Thank you very much. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, Louis.
Yeah.
This Italian trick with raw tomato.
But we're going to take a break. Remote viewing is a before I could be the teacher. And with that, my name is Rich Work, and this program is called Sovereignty from Controlling Energies. And with that, good evening. Good evening. Would all the men please stand up? Women, look around. Let's give them a hand. They asked me to do that. Years ago, when we started doing workshops, it was rare to find a gentleman in the workshops. It was almost always all ladies, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? But as time has gone along, more and more men are attending these workshops. In fact, it's not unusual today to have 50% men in a workshop. So it shows the evolving consciousness of the male species. Are you ready for an evening of magic? Yes. That's what it is, you know. It's not standing in a corner taking 40 lashes for being a bad person. It has nothing to do with that at all. It truly is magic. It's like going on a treasure hunt. and you find a stone and you turn it over and there's a little treasure, and it's about the simplicity of healing, and you try it and it works and it's so exciting, and you go along and you find another stone and there's another treasure. And this is how the journey has unfolded for me. You've heard me before, you've heard some of the groundwork of how I got involved in this. A lot of people say, well, how did you get involved in this? And I said, it was called survival. You heard the diseases that I had to conquer. I had to find my own answers. I had to be the student before I could be the teacher. If my soul journey was here to share with you the simplicity of healing, I first had to understand what it was all about. It's interesting, Phyllis here and I met in a chelation office with a doctor many, many years ago in Wisconsin when I was still in the corporate world. It was one of the experiences I had to go through in order to understand the simplicity of healing. Now, she nor I neither go in for chelation anymore because we've evolved beyond that. We understand there are other simplistic ways of addressing heart problems without going through the medical to do it. Neither is right or wrong.
Excuse me, I'm going to adjust
Okay.
this for you, Richard. It sounds a little weird.
Does it sound weird up there? Oh,
Yeah, no.
okay. Is that better? Okay, you want to just put that on pause a moment? Remember the first thing we did in my talk today? We closed the doors and windows. And I invite you just to repeat with me the first paragraph on here, if you will. I proclaim that my life is my own. I close all windows, far as those energies extend. I choose to be well, whole, and perfect of mind, body, and soul. And so it is. Remote viewing is a reality. And our privacy in our lives, in our telephones, or electronic, are you aware that by law, by congressional law, they must record all digital recordings, including your telephone calls, including your faxes, including your email, and any other electronic transmissions that you make.
What law is that? What law is that?
It's been approved by Congress. It has been passed by Congress. It is a law that it has to be recorded. I do not know the number of the law. Pardon?
Everything? I mean,
Everything.
everybody's, all the communications of everybody have to be?
That's right. It's done by make a computer simultaneously. Now, don't get too upset. Just understand they're doing it, but we also have the tools by which we can declare our own privacy. And when you invoke that proclamation, they no longer can remote view you. They can no longer invade your space in these ways. But when you invite somebody into your group or into your presence, you have to clear them also. If somebody else walks into the room, they also have to repeat the same thing to close their windows, because they could be bringing in the remote viewing in there as well. I just wanted you to understand the world we live in, and that we do have the tools to declare our sovereignty and to walk and feel free in the world that we choose to. So, but we have to use the tools. It's also important, and we're going to get into a little unusual of this up front in this particular program, because we're going to get into a lot of real fun stuff. But it's important to understand that we're in the final days of Armageddon. All of this is coming down through attrition. We're transmuting this, and we're transmuting that. And I'm going to get into a little bit more of this a little later on in the talk, just how this game is all coming to an end. So don't get too excited about some of the things you see. Just understand that when you see something that is no longer in alignment with you, if it interferes with your free will choice or your ability to move ahead and manifest according to your heart's desire, you have the ability to transmute that. We live in a world where you have free will choice, correct? And while we say, all agree, we have free will. Is there anybody out here that doesn't understand what I just said? We all understand we have free will. But I'm going to suggest to you, you do not have free will until you invoke it. I could get each one of you a $100 bill right now, and that $100 bill has no power until you invest it. To claim that you have free will and not exercise it is only an illusion. No one can violate your free will without your permission, and you give permission when you step into fear. So the game has been played very hard. They understand how they can get your free will. They have to play by the same rules. So the news, the media, everything you turn around is based on fear. Did you lock your car before you came in?
Yes.
Did you lock your room before you left?
Yes.
Did you pay your insurance today? Anne Marie will be the first to tell you that when she looks back on her life with her multiple sclerosis and healing herself, every choice she made was based on fear. When she was very vulnerable in her health issues, if she pumped gas and she got into the fumes, she may not be able to walk the next day. If she walked into a freshly painted room, she may collapse right in the room because she had. She literally had to be physically carried out. She would collapse, just pass out on the floor. If she didn't wear the right colors, if she didn't, she was on a diet of mostly rice and beans, and if she ate the wrong thing, she may not be able to function the next day. Everything was based on the fear, if she didn't do this, this would happen. It's time to understand we have the tools to transmute anything in our life. How many came here looking for a job? No takers.
Depends on what it is.
How many came here to find joy? I thought so. No, we didn't come here looking for a job. That's just some way to pay the bills along the way. We came here to look. This is called the Disneyland of the universe. This is where it's all happening. This is where all the excitement is. Boy, this is where you can go on the roller coaster, and we have, haven't we? Boy, people up there in the other dimension said, what in the world are you doing down there degenerating and aging and dying for? Because this is the Disneyland of the universe. We can have our fear. Do you know fear is addictive? Fear creates an adrenaline rush, and people get hooked on that. How many people you know that have to have the ration of bad news before they can get started in the morning? Just like their cup of coffee, right? Boy, now I got stuff I can just hand out all day long. Fear, fear, fear. And I really get, that's how I get my kicks, right? So fear is addictive, but it's time to move beyond that. And so we are today. To understand the simplicity of healing is to understand that in all of creation there's only one energy, and it's called harmonic. And then we have a way of bringing it into our playground down here and turning it into disharmonic. We take love and we turn it into fear. We take joy and turn it into anger. We take peace, turn it into depression, and we take harmony and turn it into chaos. If you bought a beautiful piano, when it was delivered, it'd be no surprise to anyone that every key on that keyboard was in harmonic attunement with every other key. But later someone might sit down, strike a key, and it went clunk, clunk, clunk. But nobody got excited. You knew exactly what you had to do. You called up the piano tuner. They came out with their little tuning fork and very quickly had it back in harmonic attunement. We work exactly the same way. The very foundation of science says that everything in our universe is nothing more than electromagnetic energy. It works by the principle of electricity. It works by the laws of magnetic attraction. They also agree that you can neither create energy nor can you destroy it. You can only change its form. When we identify a disharmonic emotion, a disharmonic frequency of any form that interferes with our free will choice and our ability to manifest and move ahead in life according to our heart's desire, we create a proclamation. The proclamations of the soul are the tuning forks of the soul. And when you transmute chaos back into harmony, and depression back into peace, anger back into joy, and fear back into love, if love filled every cell of your body, could there be any disease? No. That, my friends, is the simplicity of healing. Let's don't make it any harder than that. Let's always look for the simplicity of things. And we're going to do some wonderful demonstrations here and have some fun tonight. And this gentleman who's writing so hard here, would you like to participate in the demonstration?
Sure.
Okay. His name is John. And this young lady right here, would you like to participate in the demonstration? I believe I want you, yes? Do I want you? This lady? I believe, yeah, I think so. Come right on out. Do you have a watch on, John?
I do.
Okay, well, just hang on a second. Yeah. Would you like to come up?
Not really.
Okay. I'll pick on someone else.
Pick on my son.
Okay. No, I'm looking. I'm looking for someone very special.
Oh, we're all special.
Zelda, are you game? Okay. I'm going to put you over here, Zelda, for the time being. John, are you right-handed?
I am.
Okay, would you just turn around here and face me? Are you familiar with muscle testing?
Yes.
Okay, is there anyone here who is not familiar with kinesiology or muscle testing? Okay, good. My next question to them, John, is can they explain it to their neighbors?
Kinesiology?
Yeah.
I hope so. Nobody raised their hand?
Let me explain by giving you my little simplistic definition of how I do it. Science agrees that everything in the universe comes from one energy source. Some call it universal energy, some call it life force energy, some of us, for the lack of a better name, just call it God. They also agree that everything in the universe is nothing more than electromagnetic energy. The birds, the bees, the grass, the trees, and you and I are nothing more than a series of energy systems put together in a very interesting form. In this world, we call it matter. Now, would you be kind enough to take your watch off?
Yep.
I collect watches.
Okay.
Thank you. Would you take your glasses off? I won't ask you to take anything else off.
Okay.
Would you just lay it here? Oops, excuse me. Okay, the thymus gland is your immune system. Any energy that impacts his thymus gland in a positive way will allow him to lock his motor muscles. A motor muscle is any joint muscle. If it affects him in a negative way, he will be unable to lock that motor muscle. So the first thing we're going to do, John, is put your arm up and show me your strength. I'm just going to take 2 fingers, pull down, and you don't mess with John. Okay, now, would you hand me his watch, please? Okay, hang on to that, John. Okay, once again, show me your strength, John. And he's one tough cookie, and he's really struggling too. That was 2 fingers. Almost thought I was going to have to use 3 for a minute. This is a battery-operated watch. There's a logical explanation. You could see this one coming, couldn't you? It's emitting 1 pulse, electrical pulse per second, going directly into his electrical system and short-circuiting his electrical system. And every minute he wears this, it lowers his immune system, makes him more susceptible to colds, the sniffles, and whatever else follows that.
Would that do the same thing if you just kept it in your pocket?
It
is it only
may
a-
or may not, depending. A beeper on your belt could do it. A cell phone will do it, and so forth. But let's just lay that back there. And I'm going to ask you to step back for just a moment.
Okay.
And Zelda's turn. Do you have a watch?
Yes.
Oh, that completes my collection. All right.
Hold it.
Okay, got it. Okay. John, will you hold her watch for just a moment, please? Would you be kind enough to take your glasses off? Now, Zelda bought these glasses because they make her look sexy.
No, I wanted to see.
We have, okay. Okay, would you be kind of, are you right-handed too? Okay, show me your strength. You're in good shape. And may I have her glasses? Would you be kind enough to put your glasses on? Again, show me your strength. Now, there's a logical explanation to this too. We're electromagnetic beings, are we not? Energy's coming out of our head into this big ball of energy out here, going back and forth. Energy's coming out of the side of Zelda's head, finding the path of least resistance called metal. Comes around to the other side, has no place to go. Now, the interesting thing about electricity is it wants to complete a circuit, and if it can find a pathway, it will do so. You just happen to be a good conductor of electricity. If you don't believe so, go home, stick your finger in a light socket, and you'll know. So here comes the energy around to the other side of her head, no place to go except through her head. Again, creating a short circuit. Interestingly, if you took a metal chain, came around to the other side, that energy would simply chase in the necklace effect and she would test strong. So if you had plastic glasses, which you would test okay, and then put a metal chain, you've just created the same thing all over again. And for you gals that have pop-on bracelets that don't connect, it'll run around there, have to go in through the wrist and come back out again, and you'll test weak on those as well. Now, both of them wear watches, glasses. A little luck, they may work underneath fluorescent lights. A little more luck, they might even sit behind a computer part of the day. But not to worry because they're eating the right foods, right? And here we are, we're trying to do everything we can to raise our life force energy, and then other unsuspecting things are pushing us down. So most people are kind of riding the fence. Well, today I feel pretty good. I think I'll go to work. Tomorrow I'll call him sick. That's kind of where our society's at right now, isn't it? So, you want to come forward? Bring your watches and glasses. Bring her watch. Okay. Now, is it your desire? In the past, you would have thought, had you understood this, you have two choices. You can just do without it, or you can just worm and put up with the consequences. But now we have a third choice. We can reclaim our mastery and transmute our world into one that'll bring us joy. Is it your desire to have your watches and glasses made safe for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good choice. But this isn't just for them. This isn't just for them. Give me. This is for all of you. It makes no difference whether your watches and glasses are here, at home in the dresser drawer, or on another planet, because thought goes instantly anywhere in creation. But while we're working with this, let's don't get short-sighted. Let's just do it all and do it right the first time and not look back, and let's get on with the celebration of life. Give me. So while we're working with watches and glasses, excuse me, let's also consider our televisions, our computers, our cell phones, our water beds, all the other electronic devices, and ladies, let's not forget our jewelry. My mother passed away a year ago. She was 92. She had this wonderful collection of gold jewelry, the real stuff. Give me. Clear my throat. Anne Marie. Give me. Guys have me talking all day here, but thank you. And after she accumulated this jewelry, she found out very quickly she was allergic to gold, and she couldn't wear it. So she had to place it in her dresser drawer and once in a while pull it out and admire it. And then I taught her how to transmute it, and I became her favorite son. So let's include it all and do it right the first time. So I offer this to all of you, if you'd be kind enough to repeat this proclamation with me. It is my desire. It is my desire. Pause just a moment. From the divine love that flows within my being. From the divine love that flows within my being. Allow now that my light of love, my light of healing, my light of protection, my light of power and wisdom, becomes a permanent part of the materials I hold in my intent. Allow now that these resonate at the highest frequency of unconditional love. Go, and so it is. Take a deep breath and let it go. So, would you hold your watch in your hand? You have your glasses on. You got yours on. That's fine. Put your arm up. Give it all you got, kiddo, because I am. Don't go away. Put it up, big guy. I cannot budge him. Now, you're a tough guy to begin with, but you're aware that at the end, with having these on, you were stronger than you were without having them on at all. And why would that be? What did we ask them to become?
Unconditional love.
The highest frequency of unconditional love. It doesn't get any better than that. Actually, having these on now will hold you more stable throughout the day than you would normally be without them.
So,
Because I know both of you guys stand up before a mirror in the morning and you say, I am divine. And then you go out here on the freeway, the traffic cuts you off and you go, rah, 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 rah. So this is kind of how we go through our day. These simply are like a highly tuned crystal that will hold them more stable throughout the day. Thank you.
so do you have to make this declaration every day because of the pollution? Or is
Done,
it
done,
it's locked in
done,
for good?
Done, done, done. The only one that can undone it is you. If you walk out of the room and says, that won't work. Okay, thank you.
Questions, or can we ask some questions as we go along?
Absolutely, you may. Incidentally, a Thank good you. part of
So
the work
does
we're doing
this-
tonight is all
do
in
you have to make-
proclamations of the soul. just so you understand, we're going to be doing some work that goes beyond that as well. It'll be in my new book that I'm working on now. So, with this understanding, one of the first things I usually do in a workshop or with a client, if there's any interfering energies in your energy field, it is usually represented as a distortion in your physical body and actually in your hands. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is to place your hands together like book pages. There is a line that comes below your little finger up. And do they match? Yes. Or is one longer out of alignment?
I couldn't see what you were doing.
Okay. We line them up like so.
Yeah,
And we come up here to see if these match, and they do.
okay.
Whoops, no, wait a minute. Yeah, relax.
I just broke that finger.
Yeah, don't make excuses. You're okay. Okay. If they don't match, simply I'm going to tell you your polarities are out. And we want your energies balanced, right? So my question to you is, if there's anything interfering with your free will choice and your ability to manifest and move forward according to your heart's desire, do you choose to be free?
Yes.
If you choose to be free, I invite all of you to do this just for the exercise. From the divine love that flows within my being. Whatever is in my auric field. That is interfering with my free will choice. Whether it is here with or without my permission. I command. In the name of the Creator. And the divine love that flows within my being. That it goes to the nucleus of its being. I command. That this now be transmuted. Into the divine expression of creative love. The door. I think somebody, I thought I heard somebody knock. And so it is. I thought I heard somebody knock at the door. Okay. Now, for those whose hands may have been out of alignment, if you check now, you might be surprised to find out they're in alignment. Now, for simplicity's sakes, I would say that your polarities were off, and they were. But for you of higher understanding here tonight, I'm going to suggest and tell you that you had an entity. There's more than one soul in that body. And picking up an entity is not unusual. We could take the next 10 people walking down the street, and you'd find several with their hands out. It's not a right or wrong. It's simply understanding the world we live in. If you work in the healing arts, embody them, you can simply, by this beautiful proclamation, send them home. We sent them to the nucleus of their being. That is the golden spark that lies within each one of us that connects us to Creator. And so we sent them to their home where they need to be on their spiritual journey. There are many reasons for earthbound entities, and I'm just going to share a few that are in Awaken to the Healer Within. How many of you heard of Dr. Bernie Siegel? Wonderful oncologist, working in mainstream medicine. And he'll tell when he's got a terminal patient, he'll go and sit and talk to them for a while. And after a while, he'll look at them and says, well, you know, if you want to go, it's okay. He'll get up, walk down the hallway, get a cup of coffee, and as he comes back, he looks in the room, and sure enough, they've left. They were just waiting for someone to say, it's okay. Now imagine all the people on this planet that are terminally ill, and finally their bodies give out. And some of these are like lost souls waiting for somebody to say, it's okay. Let's take a family. The father passes on. The mother misses him very much. Decides to create a window, a disease or something to cross over to be with him. The kids see her start to go. They grab a hold of her and says, Mom, you can't go, you can't go. Now she's caught up in a tug of war with her desire to want to cross over and her guilt for leaving the children. Her body gives out, but this bond is greater than any rope that man will ever devise. As long as you have an emotional bond to a loved one, they cannot cross over. They cannot leave the earth plane. The greatest gift of love you can ever give someone is to let them go. And so after a while, They decide, well, I can't go anywhere. I just might as well jump in the back seat of this vehicle and go along for the ride. It's much more exciting to be in a vehicle than it is to be without a vehicle. That's why we came and took a vehicle. I call this your home, and nobody can come into your home without your permission. But sometimes we give permission because we simply forget to close the door. And that could be when we're in a coma, when we're under anesthesia, when our immune system is low, when you've been out with the boys and had one too many to drink that night, you lower your immune system, and the entity says, "Whip, I'm going to go along and I'm going to have me a toot tonight." And you come in the next morning at 2 o'clock in the morning and says, "Gee, I was just stopped after work for a drink or two. I don't know what happened." But the entity had a good time. Here's the one I like. It's a beautiful candlelit dinner. You're holding a glass of wine in our hands. We look deep into each other's eyes and we say, "We'll be together forever." Ooh, the power of words. We just made a contract. And one passes over and says, "Hey, I don't have to go anywhere. I have a contract." Now you got a traveling buddy. I call this your vehicle. And for the most part, they're just content to sit in the back of the vehicle and go along for the ride. But once in a while, they might say, "Hey, you get in the back, I'd like to drive a while." Once in a while, they might even say, "I like it up here, you just stay back there." And pretty soon you find out you're no longer in charge of your vehicle. So the first thing we want to do in the healing process is to make sure we have no freeloaders riding along in our vehicle. Because if they are, they're not free to go on their journey, nor are you to complete your journey. And for Mother Earth to complete her journey, and the cycle she's going through right now, all these lost souls have to be freed to go on their journey. Just like you have to free all the disharmonic energies from your body to achieve the healing you're looking for. Or interfering energies, I should say. Okay, with that understanding, we have a lot of fun. I have in my hands a copper-coated steel welding rod. I put a little bend in the handle so I can have a handle to hold on to. I cut off the end so it'll fit in my suitcase. I put a styrofoam ball on here so you guys in the back can see the action. It's the only reason it's there for. I have 2 of them now, so I have a pair of dowsing rods. I'm sure all of you in this group understand dowsing. Does anyone have a quarter? Quarter. $100 bill works just as well. We'll let him give me one. Thank you. Okay. And as you know, we can energize these things for anything we want to. And one day I may need to make a phone call, but I don't have enough change, so I'm just going to wipe these rods down. I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to walk down the beach and see if I can find me some extra change. And of course, this is what happens. Now, it makes no difference whether that quarter is on top of the rug, whoops, under the rug, or 50 feet in the ground. You still would have found that energy, correct? Now, I was doing this in a very large auditorium one time, several hundred people present. I throw the quarter over there, I'm talking away, I go over and the rods cross. And someone's snickering, and I said, "Is there a problem?" He says, "Yeah, they kicked the quarter over there." I said, "Well, I always go double check," and I went and found the quarter. The next day I called up the person that introduced me to the rods a year before. I said, "What did they do wrong?" He says, "You didn't do anything wrong, I just forgot to tell you. You can put the quarter, you can put it over there. You can pick it up and put it back in your pocket. And you can go back, you can find where the quarter was, because it leaves a residual magnetism." Now, I don't just for the sake of doing a demonstration. They all have a meaning. Phyllis, would you like to participate in this one? Would you come over here, please? Would you just lightly wipe the rods down? That's good. That's good. Now, let's see if we can go find Phyllis. And part of you still in bed, too. The purpose of this demonstration is to point out that while all of us agreed we desire to be well, whole, and perfect in mind, body, and soul, there's a lot of old programming in there's the, no, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to degenerate, die, have pain and suffering. That's the way we've always done it. And we're trying to rewrite the script, but we forgot to clean up the residual energies. Most of you are computer literate. And if you're like me, you'd just like to take a couple of days and clean out the old files, because they're taking up hard drive space. They might even confuse and create problems with my new programs. They're just cluttering things up. And the same as it is for us. We have all these ideas of where we want to go, but we also need to clean up and transmute anything that's no longer in alignment with these desires. I need this young man here. Would you like to come up? There's many ways to, are you right-handed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. And you're Stevie. Okay. Now you've done the washes, all the other stuff, so we don't have to worry about that part. So Stevie, would you raise your arm? Show me your strength. You've done this before?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, show me your strength. Good. Okay. Now, Stevie, show me your strength. Do you know what I did to you?
No.
Now you're strong. What I did is I played with your energy field. Your energy field, your aura out here. Raise your arm. You test strong. I'm playing with your energy field. I've just shattered your energy field and you can't hold your strength. I realign your energy field and you're strong. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I came up in front to align your energies. But if I come up and back, you're weak. If I go down and back, you're strong. So it's telling you the energy is going around your body, not just up and down. You follow what I have?
Yeah.
So you know martial arts?
Yes, sir.
And when you see somebody getting into martial arts and you see them doing all this stuff, they're not saying, "Hi, Stevie, have you had a good day?" They're trying to mess with your energy fields, and the other guy, understanding this too, is trying to keep it in alignment, because the one that can toy with your energy fields the most wins.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, we're going to line you up again. I just shattered his energy fields. What was that?
Put it back.
Now, you with me so far?
Yeah.
You're strong, okay? He's strong. What I did with my psychic energies, I went tip, tip, tip. Just with my eyes. And then I went up and realigned his energies. I've been playing with his energy field. He doesn't have a clue what's going on. We're all vulnerable and we're open. Okay? Now, I'm just going to do it again one more time. Stevie, I want you to say, "I claim dominion over my creation.
I claim dominion over my creation.
I will allow no one to violate my free will choice."
I will allow no one to violate my free will choice.
Thank you.
Rich, did you say that you zigzagged your eyes like that?
Just like the old Zorro thing. I just shattered his energy field. Just with my eyes. Psychically, whether I do it physically or psychically, it's the same effect.
Do you find people that can actually, with you can't break through? I mean, some bodybuilders I've worked with and I've muscle tested, and I'll put a cigarette in their other hand, and they're so strong they can actually override the resistance.
I've taken bodybuilders, and I'll tell you, it really gets their ego, because they're really macho. And I mean, I could do a two-hand chin-up on some of these guys, and I would do just what you were talking about, stick a cigarette in their mouth, and their arm would drop. But you're pushing harder, you know. Their ego gets in the way because nobody could put them down. Oh yes, absolutely. In fact, you may be aware that some people, the stronger they are, the weaker they become. And yet some other people have a small difference between their strength and their weakness. Even in their weakness, well, just like John there, he's tremendously strong individual, and even in his weakness, he has a lot of strength, but he can't lock that muscle but in his strength, I could do a chin-up on this guy, and I couldn't put him down. A martial arts instructor. At age 5, he was an army brat over in Japan, and his father put him through martial arts school. At the age of 9, he had a black belt, and he's just incredibly talented in the martial arts. And he showed me how to simply, with a breath, destroy your energy field. Within an hour, you'd be throwing up, and within a few hours, you'd be dead. I don't share that with anybody. But I just want you to know those things are available to someone who wants to use it in a not nice way. But you have the power of the thought, the power of the mind to invoke your sovereignty. And when you do, no one can play with your energy fields. And that's what we need to do and understand. Become empowered.
After he said the declaration,
Yes.
could you have messed up his energy field?
No. 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 That's what I didn't go the next step, did I? Well, I had already messed up his energy field, by the way. But you were asking if I could have done it.
After the
No,
declaration?
no, no, no. And do you want to come up here and just to show that again? Okay.
Can you have us all say that then?
We'll all say it together. Okay. I claim dominion over my creation.
I claim dominion over my creation.
I will allow no one to violate my free will choice.
I will allow no one to violate my free will choice.
Put your arm up, guy.
No, this is,
I did.
So you done that with your left hand just now. We watched you earlier do it with your right hand.
Doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't?
I can do it with my eyes. Doesn't make any difference. No. Okay. My words don't have to be the words you use. Use the words that feel appropriate to you in the moment. They will be always the right words for you. Don't get hung up if you can't remember my words. This is your creation. You own it, and if you don't own it, somebody else can mess with it. And when you claim dominion over your creation, when you claim your sovereignty, wonderful things begin to happen into your life. And other people can no longer mess with you. You have to... I'm going to do this on a board. It was in your booklet that Anne Marie passed out earlier. And that is, there is only one disease. We repeat this over and over and over again because, it is such a key, a basic key of what we're working with. There is one disease that is called low-level wellness. At the top, you're at high-level wellness. At the bottom, you're at low-level wellness. At the midpoint is absence of symptoms. As your immune system falls below the midpoint, there are three things that determine what will happen below this midpoint. Your toxic emotions, your toxic chemicals, and your genetic weaknesses. The toxic emotions are the underlying cause for all chronic disease. The toxic chemicals are the catalyst that trigger the disease process when the emotions are present. The genetic weakness is the weak link in the body by where the combination of this will manifest and the combination as to what name it will be called. At the end of programs, people come up and says, well, what do I do for diabetes? I said, read the book. Well, what do I do for Parkinson's disease? Read the book. Well, what do I do for hemorrhoids? Read the book.
Which book is it?
I'm suggesting Proclamations of the Soul for this group. It's Proclamations of the Soul.
Proclamations of the Soul. Hold it up for the video camera.
You're doing good.
Okay. Let me
Okay.
give it in the mic. And
Proclamations of the Soul.
for those on the videotape, you can call 1-800-243-6155.
Yes.
For example, like Louise Hay says certain illnesses go to certain places. Yes. Is that the same thing that you're saying?
Okay, I'm going to elaborate on that in just a moment. Okay. We have chakras, correct? We have different chakras, and each one holds a different emotion. And depending where it will manifest. For example, the underlying emotion, chronic emotion, toxic emotion for cancer is suppressed anger. So anger is in the liver, so it's going to be in this chakra here, okay? Well, the liver's up here. If you're dealing with fear issues, it's going to be in your intestinal tract. If you're dealing with self-love, loving self, it happens up here. And when you understand that 85% of Americans will have heart disease, over 50% of men and women are dying from it, add to that breast problems and lung problems, you'll understand the lesson of loving thyself is a major spiritual lesson in our society. Did that?
Yes, but like will every fear go to intestinal, for example?
No.
No, it can come into a secondary area as well, yes. Rage is with the gallbladder and so forth.
Mention that I have a full list in Awaken to the
In
Healer.
Awaken to the Healer Within, there are several pages by Anne Marie that will tell you, she talked about breathing, she's going to do a little bit later on here today, and the breath of life. And when you're having problems in this area, what part of your body is not breathing? If you get this part, the part of your body breathing, then that goes away. For example, and she may or may not get into this, but we're talking about breathing the body parts. Every part of your body has a responsibility. Every part of your automobile has a responsibility to the rest of the automobile. If a piston ring breaks, the car doesn't work so well. The rest of the car has to make up for that deficiency. You get a flat tire, it doesn't work so well. But every morning we back the old jalopy out of the garage and we go to work. Flat tire, none. Have another flat tire, we just keep pushing the old jalopy until it won't go anymore. Well, as it breaks down. If you're having liver problems, the third rib up on this side is responsible for the liver. If you get this rib breathing, the liver problem goes away. If you're having sugar problems, diabetes, it's the third rib up on this side. Get this rib breathing, the diabetes gets better or goes away. If you have the top three ribs breathing on both sides, you'll never have breast problems. If you're having osteoporosis, it's the collarbones that aren't breathing, and on and on and on. Every part of your body has a responsibility to another part of the body.
Did I understand you, what you said on diabetes, the third rib, you get it to breathe? Is that what you said?
Yes, Emery's going to go through that later on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as we look at this, the only thing that determines where you're at on this continuum is the flow and amplitude of your life force energy. We give you the tools to transmute the toxic emotions. Awaken to the Healer Within, Proclamation to the Soul contain those. We'll teach you how to transmute the toxic chemicals. What did you just say? We're going to transmute toxic chemicals? Yes, we are. And as you put everything on and into your body and you move up to high-level wellness, even the genetic aspect of your being will heal itself. Something the medical will tell you is impossible. But remember, when you get above this midpoint, you never go back to see the doctor. He only sees this person down here usually getting worse. We were doing a workshop in Sedona a few years back, and Anne Marie had her product sitting out on the table. There's a gentleman in the next room who was doing a workshop with sophisticated computer type equipment. He would train doctors how to use this stuff, the type where you can put your hand on and read all your acupuncture points and so forth, the latest and greatest at that time. He would literally travel around the world teaching doctors how to use this equipment. So he goes over without asking Anne Marie, and he picks 3 bottles off of her table and goes over and he starts playing on his computer. He comes back and he says, "Lady, do you know what you have here?" She says, "Yeah, I think I do." He says, "The most exciting thing in the 20th century are 4 Chinese herbs that have the ability of reversing the aging process by 20 years according to some scale they had created." He says, "These 3 things you have here will reverse it by 99 years. Anne Marie just smiled and she says, "Yeah, I know." He says, "Can I test you?" She says, "Okay." He says, lady, what planet are you from? Says, you have no radiation residue. You can't live in this planet with a radiation belt around it, having MRIs, CAT scans, she was ill all of her life, and all these things going on, and not have radiation residue. I've tested tens of thousands of people. Everybody's got it. She just smiled and she said, well, now you got one that doesn't. He checked her some more and he said, well, not only that, you have no genetic weaknesses. She says, thank you. Later he said, Rich, would you mind if I test you? I says, okay. I could hear him mumbling. He said, well, this shouldn't surprise me. You have no radiation residue either. And he said, not only that, you have no genetic weaknesses. He says, you know, if you two ever decide to have a child, it'll be a perfect baby. We're holding our options open.
What were the products that?
The first four listed in, I'm sorry, the first three in the solid gold listed in the booklet. Rejuvenation, restoration, balance, and solid gold.
In your packet, I have a sheet on a wellness program. No, I gave this out earlier in the day. If you do not have that, let me know. We do have some more. But it's a sheet on a wellness program for chemtrails. It includes 3 of the 4 that she just told about as part of the wellness program. Okay.
Rich, can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
It might not pertain at this point, but maybe later. What if a person lost their finger or their hand or their arm in an accident from years past? Is the spirit limb still there? Does it retract? Can it be regrown? Does this
Okay,
process
let me
work
answer it in this way.
Regrowing.
You hold the complete, perfect blueprint in every cell of your body. Every cell has the ability to replace itself. Every cell has the ability to create an entire new organ or part of your body. Any organ. Every cell in your body has the ability and the blueprint to create an entire new you. As we remove our belief systems, the old things that have drug us down, we've been layered under them over the journey of the soul. As we remove this and we get into our pure state, you will eventually get to that point where you'll have the ability to regenerate all body parts back to your divine perfection. If you've lost a limb, if you're missing an organ, whatever that may be that you're dealing with, you will have the ability, if you desire to replace and regenerate that part.
So we definitely don't need cloning.
No. And that's been going on big time, as you well know. Okay. How many of you have heard about toxic metals? The story's out. You just took an hour out of my talk. This is the exciting part about it, because remember in the old days we used to spend an hour talking about the toxic metals, and we had to spend an hour talking about how emotions affect the body. We had to spend an hour talking about thought form. We don't have to do that. That's all stuff. So we can move so quickly today in our healing. Yes, 150 years ago they used to put lead in your teeth. Then they found out it was bad for you. And they found something even worse called mercury. A little bit of silver, zinc, tin, copper, and 50% mercury mixed together makes an amalgam, very soft and pliable, that they can poke in these little crevices. But they forgot to tell us that if you take something acidic into your body, such as orange juice, tomato juice, coffee, or tea, it releases a methylmercury vapor out of these fillings, gets into your saliva, gets lodged in your cells, your body, and builds up to toxic levels. And one day the doctor might suggest you have multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, leukemia, cancers of all types, epileptic fits, suicidal tendencies, and chronic fatigue syndrome, just to top off a long list. 1 out of 5 people have or will have chronic fatigue syndrome in our disease-free society here. How many of you have fillings in your mouth? How many of you are concerned about the possible side effects? Well, you're all the way in there. Let's have a show of hands again. Okay, ma'am, would you? I didn't want somebody to crawl over everybody to get there. Give me. You're right-handed?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Carla. We don't have to worry about washing glasses now. That's old stuff. So, would you raise your arm? Show me your strength. Okay. And is it your desire to have the toxic metals in your body made safe for you?
Yes.
May we also include toxic residues?
Yes.
Let's do it all and do it right the first time. Toxic residues are such things as chemotherapy, radiation, food dyes, pesticides, that old shopping list. And may I assist you?
Yes.
Understand the little word game that we've just created here. I asked her if she's prepared to make a change in her life. If she said no, we're through. I don't do anything until they're prepared, because until they make a commitment to make a change in their life, it doesn't matter what I do. Also, can I assist you? Because I couldn't heal her if I stood my head in the corner all day long. She's the healer. I'm not. I'm only the tour guide. Pardon?
Can we all do it?
Of course, I'm going to include all of you in here. So I invite all of you to join me on this proclamation as well. And so the first thing before we do that, Carla, is you have a filling in your mouth?
I do.
Just take your index finger on this hand, place it on an area that has a filling.
Okay.
Okay? Raise your arm. Show me your strength. And we're validating to her that she has a disharmonic energy connection there. So I invite all of you now to repeat this proclamation with me. From the divine love that flows within my being.
From the divine love that flows within my being, my light of healing,
my light of protection,
my light of protection,
my light of power and wisdom,
my light of power and wisdom,
becomes a permanent part
becomes a permanent part
of the toxic metals in my body,
of the toxic metals in my body,
now and throughout my lifetime.
now and throughout my lifetime.
I also include toxic residues
I also include toxic residues
on all levels of my being,
on all levels of my being,
through all time and space,
through all time and space,
and beyond.
and beyond.
Allow now
Allow now
that these resonate at the highest frequency
that these resonate at the highest frequency
of unconditional love.
of unconditional love.
I command
I command
that all tissues in my body
that all tissues in my body
and all aspects of my being
and all aspects of my being
now be restored
now be restored
to their divine perfection.
to their divine protection.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Take a deep breath and let it go. Place your hand back on your cheek. Raise your arm. Give it all you got, kiddo, because I am. And I'm pressing pretty hard. Thank you,
Thank
sweetie.
you.
Thank you. It's permanent. It's done. It's history. Why would this create such a toxic waste dump in our bodies? Because the disharmonic frequencies, these very powerfully disharmonic frequencies, come into our body, and your immune system just takes one look at it and says, I don't have a clue what to do with you. But now we've transmuted it back into its harmonic form. And the immune system looks at the cleanse as it's taking place. We normally hand out, but we didn't have it for this program, we normally hand out a sheet that says, what is a cleanse? We hold by magnetic attraction toxins in our body. When we transmute and release the magnetic attractions, the toxins are then dumped into the bloodstream and now have to be eliminated through the liver, the kidneys, and however they choose to come out of the body. And during that time, we go through a cleanse. It may be a little discomfort. You might feel the need for some more rest. Take a good hot Epsom salt bath. Do anything that will support a cleanse. Very quickly, this will be short-lived, and you'll begin to feel levels of energy you have not felt in a long time. Yes?
What if you do not have the time? Like, we're very busy at this workshop. I'll be traveling. That we can't honor the body's needs to do the toxic or detoxing.
Beautiful lady, you're going to detox whether you want to or not.
Whether I mean, even if I don't honor
The toxins are going, when you go through a healing, the toxins are going to come whether you're at home or you're on the road.
And the benefits will be the same.
Now,
Yes.
come and learn more about the harmonic products. I want to share with you something right now so you understand what the harmonic products are all about. And this isn't a sales pitch, I just simply want you to understand how they've got here and why they're here. This is the 4th time they've been on the planet. They were here in Lemuria, they were here in Atlantis, they were here 4,000 years ago in Egypt, And now for the fourth and final time. They were here along with the crystals, with the flower essences, with all these other healing modalities that are now being brought back. They have been destroyed in the past, and they're all being rebirthed. You have come in to bring your gift to the world. Everybody is writing the books. The books that have been destroyed are being rewritten. All this information is coming back for the final healing, the final evolution of this planet. The person that brought these onto the earth brought them on all 4 times. It was Anne-Marie Soul. Where did she get the information? She came in with the information. She didn't create the information in this lifetime. She's just remembering how she did it. As each of us are awakening to discover the gifts we already have and hold within our energy matrix. We have a depressed Earth, a planet. We've polluted the air, the soil, the food, the water. And if you put depressed, suppressed food into our suppressed body, what do you have? It's just another form of suppressed, right? So the universe says, how can we bring onto the earth tools that have the ability to raise this back to its full life force potential? These are not channeled substances that she brings in. They're not prayed over. They literally have a very scientific validation to them, but they have technology of the future that's here today, literally. She doesn't even have the words to describe to other scientists, because 10, 20 years from now, we'll finally have the words that they can understand how some of these things are created. Universal law, strongest frequency wins. These formulas are the strongest frequencies on the planet. Not the kind that'll take you and slam you against the wall and drop you on the floor. It's simply that they carry a higher frequency than any disharmonic frequency they'll come in contact with. You can put all of these formulas in the microwave oven for 8 hours, nothing boil over. It will not destroy the formula. But yet 2 drops of rejuvenation on a plate of food that just came out of a microwave oven instantly take it back to its full life force potential. Remember, we take disharmonic and turn it back into its harmonic. Everything is harmonic until we play with it and turn it the other way. 4 to 6 drops of that same essence on a plate of irradiated food will take it back to its full harmonic potential. 4 drops of restoration in a gallon of water, some of you have already come up to our table and tried our water test, restores the pulse of life. I know of nothing else on the planet this time that has the ability of restoring the pulse of life back to the water, and you can experience it right there at our table. This is the exciting part about it. This is what these things are all about. They're here to assist us to quickly raise the flow and amplitude, remember, of our life force energy, so the blueprint, the perfect blueprint within us, can simply heal ourselves. We already have that ability, but we can't take it now. So we need something here to kind of pull us up the ladder, so to speak, and when we finally are able to stabilize up here, these become obsolete. They're only training wheels. They're not codependent tools. They're here to co-create with you until you get to that place where you can hold that energy. Yes?
What was the one for food?
Does it restore the enzymes?
Well, for the food and your beverages is called rejuvenation. Now, she handed out a booklet earlier. If you don't have a booklet, please stop by the booth. We'll give you a booklet. All of that information's in there. Okay? I don't want to spend a lot of time on here, but I wanted to give you an understanding of why these things are here and what makes them here and what makes them so different. 2 drops of rejuvenation in a bottle of flower essences. Remember, they're suppressed too. 2 drops in there will restore them to their full potential. The flowers are on the same suppressed earth and the same suppressed ground as everything else is. So why would we think they haven't been inundated too? They're of the earth. These are here to help restore the full potential back to everything. Don't throw your flower essences away. Homeopathics, you go through the x-ray machine, you've heard it'll negate homeopathics? 1 drop of rejuvenation in your homeopathics brings it back to full life force energy. Isn't that interesting?
And what is the substance
in there? Very simply, it is a water base, but the water base is transmuted into a crystalline water, literally liquid crystals. If you put energy into water, it'll soon dissipate over a period of time. In the crystalline water, it'll hold that frequency forever. There is also an amorphous silica in there, which are tiny microscopic crystals. Amorphous silica simply means it's approved by the FDA as ingestible. It's a form of ingestible silica. It's a food supplement. But silica is crystals, right? And with her ability and technology, she can program these crystals like computer chips to do what she needs to do to raise that life force energy for whatever purpose we're working with. To stimulate the photon, basically. Exactly. Okay, yes.
How is this different from using the proclamations?
Thank you for asking that. There are two parts to the healing process. When I began my journey, the one thing that I found glaringly missing very quickly, I wanted to know everything about every modality, every disease. I became an expert in many fields. I'm considered a cancer expert in many areas of the country. I've spoken on major cancer control society programs. Heart disease, we've all been through this. I wanted to know everything about everything, right? I couldn't get enough. And it was part of my journey. That was part of my understanding of everything. And the one thing that was missing was no one, whether it was spiritual, alternative, or orthodox, was allowing the client to release the underlying cause that created this to begin with. And so it became my soul journey to create the proclamation of the soul to negotiate peace. If you were in charge of a country at war, would you first choose to rebuild the country or to negotiate peace? First, we negotiate peace. These tools are to assist us in rebuilding the country. Once we've declared peace, rebuilding the country becomes quite quick and quite positive. Trying to rebuild the country before you do peace is a struggle. Okay? Thank you. All right. You were given out a couple of sheets of paper. I'd like to work with those for just a moment, if you will. The one I want to work with first is called the Matrix of Life. This goes beyond the books, so you'll have these to take home with you. It's going to be part of my new book. With every proclamation, I always give a description of what that proclamation is for and what it's intended to do. In the book, I will give you the wheres and why-fors, but right now I'm just giving you the proclamations. I will tell you.
On the back side of my connection to yours.
An interesting thing happened. I desire to be well, whole, and perfect in mind, body, and soul. And this whole other energy says, no, 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 you're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We created two opposing thought forms. The best way to explain this is two opposing mirrors looking at each other, sending out their messages, bouncing off of each other's mirrors, being distorted, and maybe misused in the wrong direction. When I worked with a private client, one of the first things I want to know is how much of your creative energies are being misdirected in the wrong direction, because you all know you've been working and trying, and do you ever get the feeling the harder you try, the behinder you get? And that's true, because we have these two opposing thought forms. And so what we're going to do is to transmute those thought forms and merge them into one. We do not want to separate them. We want to merge them to become one thought form. And the universal law of strongest frequency wins. And life and rejuvenation is always stronger than death and degeneration. So the two to come together, it becomes now life and rejuvenation. So I invite you now to repeat this. Let's just read it together. I am creation on all levels of consciousness. I reach into my creation, into the universe of Earth and the planet Earth, and those energies that have created opposing thought forms. one sustaining life and one destroying life, creating a separation in the matrix of life. I create an energy form, moving in its perfect sequential order, that will gently but firmly merge these two opposing energy forms into one energy, one of pure life and rejuvenation. I command this take place in a manner that is in harmony, all life form upon the planet Earth, and so it is. This is a two-step process. The next one, called the visualization, I'm not going to have you read it. You can do that when you do it at home until you become accustomed to it. But right now, I'm just simply going to ask you to close your eyes, and I'm going to guide you through this visualization. See before you a pair of Siamese twins. They are joined together at the body. If we separate them, they both shall die. What we truly want to do is to merge the two together to become one life form. One is called death and degeneration. The other is called life and rejuvenation. And now in your mind's eye, see the one called death and degeneration deflate like a balloon, that moving into the other life form, becoming instantly transmuted into life and rejuvenation. See that body deflate, continue to deflate, until there is no appendage left. There is now only one life form before you, called life and regeneration. And when you're complete with that, you may open your eyes. I invite you all to open your eyes now. If you didn't quite accomplish that, I suggest that each day for the next 7 to 10 days, you do the simple visualization called the Siamese twins, until you look and there is only one life form. There's no residues of any old thought forms to draw you back into old patterns. Then now all of your creative energies are focused and moving in the same direction. If we come down to the next one, I'm just not going to have you read that one either right now. I'm going to explain it to you for this purpose, but you'll have it to take home with you. Whenever there is excessive friction in the body, the soul will get out of the body. If you're in Phoenix this time of year and you got in the car, you shut the door, you reached over to start the engine, you reached over and turned the air conditioning on, the air conditioning didn't come on, pretty soon it's getting warm in that car. You said, the heck with this, I'm going to roll the windows down. You reach for the window button, they don't work either. You're going to say, the heck with this, I'm getting out of this car. And that's what your soul does when it gets too uncomfortable in this physical vehicle. Now, I talked today and told you about the ectoplasm. That is certainly one thing that has kicked souls out. But even before that, going back well over a year and a half, I began to find out that 80% of my clients didn't have a soul in their body. And I said, whoa, what is going on here? How many of you...
Can I ask you first, some people have a different definition of soul. When you say soul, do you mean spirit? Our spirits?
Your creative energy.
So that's a spirit that looks exactly like our physical body that's inside of us? Is that what you mean?
Well, it may be a perception. It's literally a ball of energy it could be a little ball of white light from another person's perspective. It is the creative you. It is who you are. You are not your physical body. This is just a vehicle that your spirit, your soul, your creative energy has come into to have a good time. Going to give you an exercise. Tomorrow morning, I want you to get in your automobile. I want you to back it out of the garage. I want you to park it in the driveway. Pull on the emergency brake, put it in neutral. I want you to stand there and rev the engine, rawr, 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 rawr. Hold on that steering wheel and with all the gusto you have say, I am an automobile. It'd be kind of silly, wouldn't it? Of course you're not an automobile. You're a human being having a physical experience in an automobile. By the same token, to say that you are Zelda is also misleading. Because truly, you're a beautiful soul having an earthly experience in a physical form. This vehicle you chose, and you named Zelda, because you wanted identity. And then you went out and got a social security number and a driver's license and a telephone number, and you got more identity than you care to have right now.
I took your thought off when I asked you about the soul, what you would.
But thank you. It's a good question. It's a valid question. Thank you. It is your creative energy, okay? And when your creative energy is not in your body, there's nothing to repair the body. And so you're on remote control, and you can work fine without a soul. We've been doing it on and off here for a long time recently. And you just go on remote programming, and you can laugh, and you can cry, and you can eat, and you can have beer and pizza with the guys, go to the ball games. You can do all these things.
Explain the soul just steps aside.
The soul just steps out of the body. It gets out of the vehicle. It gets out of the car.
It's actually been
Standing next to the car.
It's been waiting for you to clean up the house so it can come back in. It says, well, yeah, if you're going to clean house, sure, I'll come back home. And so this is what we're going to do now. It's called soul retrieval. Soul retrieval is not difficult. There's no right or wrong way to do it as long as you do it in unconditional love. And so I'm going to guide all of you now to call your soul back into your body, because the majority of you do not have a soul in your body at this time, simply because it got too hot in the car. It's not right or wrong. It's things we're going through at this time. We're putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, and we're going to get on with the celebration of life. So with that, if you'll be kind enough to close your eyes and repeat with me, and you're saying this for yourself. Remember, all of my work is not about me doing it for you. It's about you doing it for you. I'm giving you the tools. These are your words to your soul. I now give myself permission to go into the universe, to stand before my soul, as my soul stands before me, in love. I invite you now to join me as I lovingly and gently guide you back into this body. See yourself fitting comfortably into this body, filling every aspect of its being. I invite you now to co-create with me as I complete my journey in this physical experience. And so it is. Take a deep breath and let it go. The next one on that sheet is called dimensions. You all understand we're multidimensional beings. And that can be described in several different manners. None of them are right or wrong. It is just the perspective you're looking at this. They're all correct depending on the perspective you're looking at. And the perspective I'm looking at right now is the fact there are 13 dimensions within an octave. And just like the piano scale, there are octaves that go beyond that. The one we're most concerned about right now is the first octave, is the one that's directly related to our third dimensional experience. As you know, many people have been focusing on raising their vibrations, have they not? A lot of people are meditating and having wonderful things and out of their body, and they're just popping in and out here having all kinds of astral travel and all these other things. None of this is right or wrong, but we need to understand it from a bigger perspective. There's a universal law that says whatever is created in the third dimension can only be changed from the third dimension. You got a third dimensional body. You want to heal it. You want to create prosperity. You want to create a relationship. You want job opportunities. And if you're up here, if your creative energy is out in Montana and you're down here in Denver, you ain't going to get together. You're going to have to get back here with your physical body in the third dimension to manifest in the third dimension. Greenbacks are not used in the fourth dimension. They're used in the third dimension. And those people who are playing the game of power and control out here understand exactly how you manifest. You get grounded, centered, and balanced here, and you take action here to make it all manifest. Now, when I check in on how much of your creative energies are in any of these dimensions, in the past I used to find that most of your energies were in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, because everybody was trying to get up there. But more recently, because there's no soul in the body, there's no creative energies in any of those dimensions. And it says, whoa, no wonder we can't get things moving and get them on the right track. When's the last time anyone ever told you to go get grounded in the first and second dimension? Never. Anne Marie says we just broke the code. We just broke the code. You can't build the third floor till you build the first and second. I'm going to go only through the first 7 dimensions in my book. I will go through the first 13 dimensions. The first dimension is creation. It is your creative energy. It is the isness. It is all that is. It is the cosmic Play-Doh from which all things are made. Then we take the cosmic Play-Doh and we put it into motion, into a waveform, into a thought form in the second dimension where we have thought form. Now we take the thought form and we take it another step into the third dimension and we create tools by which we can experience our creation. The chair you're sitting on, the clothes you're wearing, the food you eat, even the physical vehicle that you occupy. Now we take the third dimension another step into another form of motion, which we call meditation, Tai Chi, and yoga. From the fourth dimension, we take it another step into particles of light, into the fifth dimension. This is where we think of the light being and the light body. From the fifth dimension, we take it one more step into the sixth dimension, into a fluid state. Light into a fluid state, we call it fluescence. Other people have called it pearl essence. These are words that are not in Webster Dictionary. As we are evolving here, we are creating new terms that fit our new reality. From the sixth dimension, it is called gel, G-E-L. It is where the bones become cartilage, where you can jump off of a building, bounce like a rubber ball, not break a bone, not get a bruise. It is where the tissues and organs of the body are in perpetual rejuvenation. In the seventh dimension, there is no more aging, death, degeneration, and ultimately, no death. The beings in the seventh dimension say, what in the world are you doing down there in the third dimension, wasting away for? As I mentioned before, this is the Disneyland of the universe. None of these are right or wrong. It's a matter of learning how to work with the bigger toolbox. Truly what we want to be is 100% energetically connected to all 13 dimensions. Be totally centered, grounded, and balanced here in the third dimension to reach out to the bigger toolbox to bring things down here to now manifest this human experience into things that have never been done before in the third dimensional experience, and to ascend in the third dimension. And when you use and integrate those 13 dimensions and from the bigger toolbox, that they will come when you will become invisible, walk through walls, bilocate, transport, and all those other wonderful things we talk about. And that day's not that far off for many of you. So with this one, I'd like to do this visualization with you, if you will, to reattach your energies to all of these dimensions that are appropriate for you. In your mind's eye, see yourself standing in the center of a large target. You're standing in the center of a bullseye. As you look around you, you see these circles extending further and further away from you. You might think of them as dimensions. But this is not the best way to look at dimensions either, because dimensions neither go up nor down nor sideways. They go in every direction simultaneously. So now see yourself in the center of a light bulb, an incandescent light bulb. Now see your energies extend out in every direction, just like that light bulb, extending further and further outward as far as it desires to go. Don't anticipate it, don't force it, just allow it to go as far as it chooses to go, filling every dimension that is appropriate for you at this time in your journey. And you're now complete. All of you have filled the first 13 dimensions. Some of you have moved up into other octaves, depending on where you are on your journey. There's no right or wrong. You've just completed and integrated totally into those dimensions that are appropriate for you and that will support you now in your journey. And you now have put all your creative energies focused back on that which you desire at this time. I invite you to turn your paper over now. These next two proclamations are in Proclamations of the Soul. Proclamation of the Soul goes far, far beyond Awaken, but they are sequels. Awaken to the Healer Within contains a lot of information that's not in Proclamation. Proclamations does kind of cover the basic proclamations, but it doesn't cover all the information that Awaken has. So really, they are a set. But if you're buying one book right now for this group, I would suggest you work with Proclamations because they contain all the proclamations at this point, because you are all advanced beings here in this room. Anne-Marie and I were in the bookstore, and we saw a magazine there called Psychology Today. We picked it up, we opened the covers, and there was a 2-page spread that says, "I hurt all over." It was about fibromyalgia, chronic pain in the muscle tissue. I read and have a clue what's causing it. We don't have a clue what it is, and 1 out of 3 people are getting it. And the interesting thing is, 10 years ago, fibromyalgia was not in the medical dictionary. So pray tell, what is going on? Dr. Dean O'Dell, I was listening to him a few weeks ago. A lady called in. She said, "Doctor, I just been diagnosed of having fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. What do you suggest I do?" He said, "It is now a medical consensus that those people that have those types of diseases simply have a mindset that they have to have a disease," and dismissed it. Now, if you have ever had those, it's no fun. And you know it's real, but you can't see it under a microscope. So they just want to wash it aside because they have no answers. I'm going to tell you what it is, and I'm going to tell you what causes it. I'm going to give you the antidote for it. You have all seen these big TV dishes that the military uses. They're 100 yards wide. Is there anybody out there? Now imagine one the size of Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, and Minnesota. It's where the first one was built in the mid-70s. Buried cable called ELF stations, extreme low frequencies. I imagine most of you are familiar with ELF stations, are you not at this point? Stations all over the world. But when they turned that on, not too far from where Anne-Marie was born and grew up, in Edgar, Wisconsin, within a 100-mile radius, 200 miles in diameter, the northern half of Wisconsin, birds and animals begin to die or leave the area. There was massive demonstrations in that area. People laying down in freeways, creating all kinds of commotion, stopping trucks, trying to get somebody's attention. The military came back in and says, "Well, all right, we'll turn it down to an acceptable level." How many of you begin to wither and die? We are no less energetically connected to the earth than a plant or a tree. Up by its roots and lay it aside, it'll soon wither and die. If I disconnect you energetically, you begin to wither and die. Now let me put this in a different perspective. This energy is coming through a hose. I reach below our feet and I pinch the hose. But energy keeps coming in, keeps coming in, keeps coming in. Pretty soon the hose is beginning to bulge. It's getting uncomfortable, and after a while it just plain hurts. And it's called fibromyalgia, chronic pain in the muscle tissue. Pain from any source is only caused from one source, blocked energy. No matter what the pain is, it's blocked energy. And Marie's going to do some breath work here and so forth. If you have blocked pain, if you have stagnation, you simply need to get that energy flow moving. The pain simply goes away. You heard her talk about her mace finger today. Excruciating. Put Angelica on it. Her whole body took a deep breath. Rejuvenation, thank you.
Just change the names of the
Yeah. Okay. And suddenly the pain was gone, just that quick. What I'm going to suggest we do, where are we at? Okay, we haven't done the proclamation yet. That's what we're going to do. And so this is the antidote for fibromyalgia, if you will. From the divine love that flows, okay, I'm sorry, it's my connection to the earth, okay? From the divine love that flows within my being, I proclaim my desire to remain in my physical body so I may experience and fulfill my journey in peace and joy upon. I see those energies within me that are connected to creation, flowing through my being, reconnecting with the earth and divine perfection. And so it is. Take a deep breath. I had told you earlier that with each proclamation I had a teacher that came forth. With the next one, I had worked with a lady from Brooklyn. She was an exotic dancer. I worked with her over the telephone. I've never met her, but I really am looking forward to meeting her. I took her through the proclamations. I took her into her oneness. She says, Rich, you know what it means to live in Brooklyn, be an exotic dancer, and be in your oneness? Nobody knows who I am here. Give me a call once in a while. And in one conversation, she suddenly stopped me and she says, Rich, it feels like somebody just stuck a knife in my heart, and they're twisting it, and it hurts. At the same moment, I felt the pain in my heart. And I said, Joni, you've called me today to be my teacher, to let me know there's something I need to be looking at. I said, I'll call you back. I went into my quiet space and I talked to my highest consciousness. I said, what is it I am not seeing? It said, when you and you and you and you came onto this planet to shine your beautiful light upon this planet, you were seen as witches and you were drowned and tortured and burned. It says, why do you think it was during the Inquisition they did not simply choose to kill you outright, but chose to torture and torture and torture you until you thought it would never end, only to stop and begin all over again? Because they knew it was one way they could tamper with the soul, to inflict such pain it would become ingrained in your DNA, into the core of the earth itself, that if you ever dared to come back again to shine your beautiful light, a wall of fear and terror would come up and face you and scream at you and say, stop, have you gone mad? Don't you know you're going to inflict pain? And rather than take one step through the illusion, we would take 2 steps back. It was another booby trap that had been created along the way. And with that came this proclamation, if you will, proclaiming my divinity. From the divine love that flows within my being, I choose to break the bonds of illusion created on all levels of consciousness that have interfered with my ability to recognize and accept my divinity. I acknowledge the pain in any form that I have suffered throughout the journey of my soul. I call forth the pain that has been inflicted, with or without my permission, as well as those soul expressions, elementals, and thought forms that have been instrumental in this pain, to stand before me as I stand before you in love. I ask you to forgive and honor me as I forgive and honor you. I thank you for the lessons we have shared. I now choose to transmute all bonds between us into unconditional love. I call forth all records and memories on all levels of consciousness within the Akashic records, within my cellular structure, my DNA, my encoding throughout the universe, and even into the planet itself, that have attached myself to that pain, which has prevented me from freely and joyfully connecting with my divinity. I command that these records and memories now permanently be erased from universal consciousness, and I command that all tissues and aspects of my being be restored to their divine perfection. And so it is. Take a deep breath and let it go. How many of you are aware that the electromagnetic grid system is shifting? It is shifting. Pilots every few days have to orient their compasses, or they'll just flat miss the runway. The electromagnetic grid system was created for the third dimensional experience. They're not just lines on a map. They're literally energetic lines that go around our planet. They were here to hold us stable in this third dimensional reality. But we're rewriting the rules. We're raising our levels of consciousness. We're raising our vibrations. And many of you right now feel like you're a helium balloon that's been cut loose. You're floating around up here. You're no longer grounded, and you just don't know where home is anymore. You ever get that feeling? Remember when we were kids, we used to shuffle across the floor and go zip. We build up excess electricity in our bodies. When we were grounded, we could get rid of that excess electricity. But now that we've become detached from that third dimensional grid and moving up, we no longer have a reference point, and we're building up excess electricity in our body. Some people, we know one lady that says, I can't get near my cat. My cat loves me, but I go for the cat and it's gone. It hides from me. She said, because I know when I touch the cat, sparks fly. And that cat doesn't like me anymore. One lady says, I can't get near my kids. It says, Mom, you hurt me when you touch me, because she's discharging the excess electricity that's building up. She has no other reference point to get rid of it. January 1st, year 2000, the so-called new millennium, on that day, a new grid system was anchored in place on this planet. It's called the photonic magnetic grid system. It was anchored into place. It is up here, and it is where we are gravitating to. When you are totally 100% integrated in this new grid, which by the year 2012 you will be, or you will have left this planet, there will be no more aging, disease, degeneration, and ultimately no death. Right now you have the option of going up here, gravitating back and forth. You still have that flexibility of playing the game. But after the year 2012, you will be up here. There will be no more returning down here. That's why the people out here who are digging ditches, who don't have a clue what we're talking about today, are finding this planet less comfortable to be in. It's not as much fun as it used to be. Stress levels are getting pretty high because this grid system that has been supporting them is slowly deteriorating and going away. This proclamation is to assist you, because right now every one of you is carrying an excess load of electricity. Ultimately, it can create so much electricity it can trigger a heart attack. I'm going to suggest, if I were to pendle, I bet 80% of you right now carry somewhere upwards to 200% diffuse it with this proclamation called photonic energy, and I invite you to join me now. I command that all excess electrical energy that I have now be transmuted into photonic energy, an energy that is appropriate for me in this time, in the evolution of my being, and that this process continue to take place in a harmonious sequence. And so it is. Take a deep breath and let it go. And would you be kind enough to turn off the video camera at this point? We're going to take a break.
And I'm Anne Marie Work, and I'm going to be continuing the sovereignty from controlling energies, and I'm going to be working with the breath of life. But we have a question to start out with.
In relation to the last thing that your husband said, where energy builds up causing fibromyalgia, does this energy also, can this cause a spontaneous human combustion, which you very rarely hear about, that I've read about?
Okay, on our website, on your literature, it says www.harmonicsinternational.com, and that's harmonics with an S. harmonicsinternational.com. Under new news, you can go in there and under newsletters. And the one thing that you want to look up is the newsletter on solar flares. And in there we talk about the friction that's building up in the bodies from the solar flares. The solar flares are creating heat, which you are feeling down here on this planet. Anybody watch the weather station lately? And when a massive solar flare hits, it doesn't necessarily create heat like putting a pan on top of a burner. It creates heat like a microwave. When you put a pan on a burner, the food cooks from the outside in. When you put something in the microwave, friction results and you cook from the inside out. What the solar flares are doing is they're creating friction, cooking us from the inside out. And as this friction is building in the body, this is what's creating a lot of the souls leaving, because they can't handle the friction. And as you create more and more friction, we actually had a mother call us and say, can you tell me why my son is setting his socks on fire? You know how close he was to spontaneous combustion? We immediately, overnight, aired her a product called Liquid Manna. I had developed this Liquid Manna, and we realized that you took baths or foot baths, and it released the stress out of the body. We didn't realize how handy it was going to come in for the solar flares. 70 drops in a bathtub pulls the friction out of your body. You do those Liquid Manna baths several nights in a row, and you feel like a newborn baby. What's epidemic? What have you been seeing on TV lately that they're describing as epidemic? Acid reflux. You're being cooked from the inside out, so all the valves in the alimentary canal are not working. Constipation, indigestion, acid reflux have all become epidemics just in the last 2 years since the solar flares have really taken over.
Is there a cause behind these solar flares? Is this deliberate and intentional from God?
Come to our Mastery for Life course. Come to our Mastery for Life course in October.
Where's it going to be?
Did you receive the information, the packets?
I probably did, but I haven't read it.
Okay, there's a form in there about our Mastery. It's a 3-day program. And that's what it's going to be in the St. Louis area, October 21, 22, 23. Rich, hand him another packet. So he's got it.
Anne Marie, excuse me, do you have any opinion? There was an earthquake on Wednesday in the area. Do you think
I was so busy I missed it.
Do you think there was any correlation between that underground occurrence and the earthquake?
Oh, could have been. Could have been.
It happened Wednesday.
Okay, could have been.
An earthquake in Kansas.
Okay, so back to the solar flare information. There's a lot of people that says this is a natural anomaly. What's the word? Anyway, anomaly. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm not going to go into that tonight. Are you going into that tonight? No, we're not going to go into that tonight. But Rich and I believe that they're created, but that's a whole nother story, and we have to build a story, so it takes about 20-30 minutes to build a story behind the story. Matter of fact, I positively, absolutely know they're being created. And how and why. Okay. We have somebody who wants to give their personal testimony of something that happened to her this afternoon before we start. So Zelda, you want to come up and talk into my mic? So you got to come stand by me like this and talk. Okay.
Okay.
You can talk to them, but you're close enough.
Okay. Just at noon, when we were about time to break, I got to feeling like I was going to faint, and I got real dizzy-headed and a little bit sick at my stomach. And my friend helped me out into the hall, and just as I was sitting on the bricks out there, taking deep breaths and trying to revive myself,
Rich. Rich happened by.
Rich
by coincidence.
Just happened by. And he went and fixed me up a cocktail.
Of harmonic essences.
And just almost immediately, I felt better, and my energy came back just real quick. And I went and ate dinner.
Thank you. Movement. And the amplitude, how it's moving through your body, determines your level of wellness on a cellular level, but that also determines the amount of movement in the photon energy at the atomic level. And the more that is moving, the more enlightened you are. Because remember, the movement of the more the photon is moving, the more light that is created. And the more light you have inside the cell, the more light you have to enlighten the DNA strands, reconnect the DNA, and actually utilize the DNA that you have in your body. So whether I'm talking about accelerating the movement of life force energy or whether I'm talking about activating the photon energy in your body, they're one and the same. Every time you do something that's in the natural health category, whether it's taking herbs, picking good organic food to eat, going to a Tai Chi class, having a massage, or taking homeopathics, Bach flower essences, aromatherapy, etc., all of these things are designed to do one thing. Move energy. Increase the flow and amplitude of your energy. Bottom line. You pick the things that bring you joy. I love oils. You know, I love the essences. Pick the music. I love music. Pick the things that bring you joy in this life that will literally build and move that energy within your body. What I'm going to be talking about tonight is your actual movements, how you move, when you walk, when you put one foot in front of the other, and how it can make a difference in your life. What happens when we have a physical reaction to a negative emotion and what that does in the body? Let's build up against the heart and we wonder why we can't give and receive love. The back torques, the pelvic cradle locks, and we're in this locked position and we walk like this. Now, if you're looking at me walking with all these cords around me, you will notice that basically the only thing moving are my legs. Every time you take a breath, your whole body should expand and contract, and every part of your life force energy should move with every breath you take. Every breath you take in that position where every bit of your life force energy is moving means every cell in your body gets a full body massage because the lymph moves. So toxins are carried out, nutrients can come in. But if you're locked up like this, your lungs are going back and forth when you take a breath. Your ribs are not moving, nothing else is moving, the lymph is stagnant, pretty soon toxins build up, the cells become in stagnation and toxins and actually can calcify. Shoulders and stiff necks, you have layers of calcification up in this part of your body because you walk like this and you don't move this part of your body. And when this happens, the ligaments and tendons can go out of their natural place in your body, and you end up taking your body into a torque. So the first thing I'm going to do is all that I used to teach it a different way. So if you were in any of my classes a couple years ago, this is simpler now. Because I kept watching the body saying it has to be simpler than that. And what I discovered is if I lift my breastbone a quarter of an inch, I automatically open my solar plexus. When I drop, my solar plexus closes. This is the only thing we have to think about right here, the solar plexus. I drop, it's closed. I pick up, I open. This is your soul, solar plexus. This is where your soul radiates from, your soul energy. You're either closing the sunshine of your soul or you're opening it up. When you're like this, ooh, can't see you. When you're like this, you're exposed. You're letting everyone see your soul. And that's why most of us walk like this. We don't want anybody to see who we are. But you open up. So, I open my solar plexus, I let my shoulders and arms move, and when I walk, this is the way I walk. What's moving? Everything is moving. Every bit, and I inhale, my lungs are opening up. I exhale, my lungs and my ribs. My ribs open and my ribs close. Instead of the ribs sitting there like iron bands, like a prison around my lungs, they're actually moving. These are the tuning force of our body. And the rib cage now is actually moving with every step I take. So now, every step I take, my body is rejuvenating and regenerating and reversing the aging process. When I'm like this, every step I take, I'm aging and degenerating because nothing's moving. So, let's say we've been locked up like this for a while, and then we lift something that's too heavy, and these tendons that come across from the back here, come across, come down to the elbow and hook into the wrist, those tendons snap forward. Now, I'm like this, and I couldn't stand up straight if I wanted to, because my tendons aren't here, they're here pulling me this way. Does this look like the beginning of osteoporosis to anybody? Okay, the other thing that it affects is the shoulders. You could have tennis elbow and carpal tunnel. This is the cause of carpal tunnel. The tendons being out. That's it. It's the only cause of carpal tunnel. If the tendons end up back because you fell and the tendons spring back and they can't get home because you got too much debris built up in here, now your rib cage is torqued like this. So you can end up with hiatal hernia, high cholesterol because that torque is on your liver, sugar problems over here on the pancreas, indigestion, gas, and all kinds of problems in the abdomen. Gallbladder, that's the cause of gallbladder, appendicitis, and so on and so forth. Now, if you're one of these people who one tendon ends up back and one tendon goes forward, you're in a torque. Now, the first time when the tendons are forward, you have a lot of problems up here. So you go to your chiropractor every week because you have neck pain, shoulder pain, and he has to put your cervicals back in. When your rib cage is like this, forward, you have mid-back pain, and you always have to have your thoracics put back in. If you're in a torque, now you've got problems with the lumbars. Your lower vertebrae are always out. You end up with problems in the low back, disc problems, sciatic nerve, knee problems, bunions. All of that is caused because you've been in this torque, and your ropes and pulleys are all out of place. 99% of the reason why people are in their doctor's offices is because their ropes and pulleys are out of place in their bodies. And it was all because you reacted to a negative emotion and went like this and started shutting the body down. How many of you would like to get your ropes and pulleys back in place? Yes. Yay! Okay. That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to put ropes and pulleys back in place. And no, I haven't forgotten. I promised to do the Fountain of Youth attunement. So yes, we will do that too. But we're not going to do that because we're not going to do the Fountain of Youth attunement until we have our ropes and pulleys back in place, because it's a little bit hard to do one before the other. I'm going to show you a simple exercise, and yes, I know you're my test model. I'm just trying to think of how I'm going to do this in sequence. We've got someone who gently volunteered by walking up to me and saying, I have a backache. I said, oh, did you just volunteer? Ropes and pulleys out of place. If your ropes and pulleys spring out of place as you're coming through the birth canal, you will have scoliosis and or dyslexia. If you want to help somebody with scoliosis, you need to get the ropes and pulleys back in place. They're still out from the day they were born. Same thing is true if you know somebody who's dyslexic. When the ropes and pulleys cause that torque like this, what happens up in the cranium is these cranium bones fuse together, and they're so tight that the neuro synapses do not fire correctly, and you end up with someone that's dyslexic, and we have to open up the cranium, and we open up the cranium by getting the ropes and pulleys back in place, and then we do some breathing with the cranium. The other thing that you need to know about the breathing that I do is that we're going to use your lungs as a massage tool. Your lungs are the greatest massage tool you own. You are literally going to imagine as you inhale that your lungs are pushing out to different parts of your body. And when they push to those different parts of the body, just as an example right now, imagine your lungs reaching up to the top of your shoulders. When you inhale and rest as you exhale. And I like to breathe through my nose and out through my mouth because it rocks the palate of my mouth and activates the pituitary. So, and let's do that a couple more times. I'm getting you primed for the ropes and pulleys technique. Anybody getting lightheaded? We're actually sending more oxygen up to the brain. When you breathe that way, and I have my mother do it 10 times a day, feel what's happening to your collarbones. They lift. They rock. They actually rock inside your body. Your collarbones are the site of mineral distribution and hormone balance. When you hold your breath and lock your collarbones, they become stagnant and dysfunctional, and it leads to PMS, menopause problems, infertility problems. Oh, men, you're not out of this one. Infertility, impotence, prostate problems, because when the collarbones lock, the pelvic cradle locks, and it causes all kinds of problems down here. The minute you open up your collarbones, your pelvic cradle will automatically open up with it. My mother's sister just passed away from severe osteoporosis. Her mother did the same thing. All of her sisters have osteoporosis. My mother had a hysterectomy at age 40. She had a mastectomy at age 42. She's never had hormone therapy. She is now in her late 70s. And her sisters nagged her to get a bone density test last fall. She went in, she had a bone density test, and the doctor came out and said, I think the labs have made a mistake. My mother says, why do you think they've made a mistake? And he says, because you have the bone density of a young woman. She breathes her collarbones. You breathe your collarbones and you will reverse osteoporosis.
I noticed the red light is not on the camera. I wonder if it is recording.
I can see it. You just couldn't see it from where you were. Are we? You're very observant, thank you. Okay, so we're going to do an exercise. And the exercise we're going to do is going to go like this. And I'm going to describe the exercise and then you're going to follow. We're going to stand up. We're going to feel our whole body breathing from head to toe. And we're going to, when we do this, we're going to open up our solar plexuses. You're going to do this in just a minute. Let me go through the whole exercise. Then we're going to put the head forward. We're going to just put a little bit of stretch on the spine from the tailbone to the brainstem by putting the weight of the head a little bit forward. And when I breathe, I'm going to imagine my lungs coming back and gently embracing and massaging my spine. And at the same time, feeling my back ribs open and close when I breathe. Then after we do that, we're going to bring the head straight up. When I do this, my thumbs are facing straight in. I'm going to have you breathe your lungs up to the top of your shoulders and just roll your hands out like this. We're going to do a couple breaths like that. Then the next time we're going to lift the hands a little bit, only this time when we breathe, we're going to feel the lungs come right out to the front of our breasts. So we're going to go, and we're going to move this part of our rib cage open by pushing against it with the inflated lungs. Then we're going to lift our arms a little bit further, and we're going to feel the lungs come down into our abdomen and push this way on the rib cage. Just push up against the abdomen. Then we're going to raise our hands equal with our shoulders. We're going to imagine the lungs coming right down into the pelvic cradle. And we're going to feel the lungs open way down. At this point in time is when you're actually going to pop the diaphragm, and you'll actually be able to diaphragmatic breathe again, for those of you that have never been able to do that. You know, I had yoga instructors beat on me for 10 years trying to tell me how to diaphragmatic breathe. My body was torqued. I couldn't do a diaphragmatic breath if it killed me. And it almost did, trying. The minute we got my body out of the torque, my diaphragm just moved. Just that easy. That's going to pop the diaphragm. Now, I am not stupid. I know that your lungs can't touch your toes. But when you imagine your lungs reaching down to touch your toes, you're going to be touching all of the acupuncture points within the rib cage that lead down to your feet. And that's why I'm going to say, imagine your lungs touching your feet. And you're going to open up the energy circuitry in your legs. Then the next breath we're going to take, we're going to have you imagine your lungs come up and fill up all the way to the top of your shoulders as you go. And all of these ropes and pulleys will just pop right back into place. Now, how can you physically tell if they're out? When you come across the shoulder right here, there is a bone that comes across here. As you slide your thumb across this bone, if you find a groove and your thumb slips into that groove, the tendon isn't home.
Thank you.
Mark.
Whew, isn't that awful?
Okay. Now, she's been experiencing back pain, and most likely because her ropes and pulleys are out. So if I come across here, there's the groove right there. My little finger just slid right into it. There's the groove right there. There's the tendon there. My finger's on it. I bet the other one's back here. There it is. She's torqued. The tendon's running back here, and in the front it's running up here. So she's torqued her body, and the result is pain. And where is the pain? What are we looking at? Low back?
It first started here. And
in the arms, because the tendons are out.
Then it got over here.
Then it got over here.
Now it's both places.
Now it's over here.
I can't hardly move.
But did you hear it started in the arms? Why did it start in the arms? Because the tendons had popped out. So we're going to have you follow along with us, and then I'm going to do just one little extra thing for all of the therapists in the group to show what would I do if I was a therapist with you to assist you just a little bit more.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so we're going to have everybody stand up. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the solar plexus. And you're going to take a couple breaths, and as you take these breaths, I want you to imagine your whole body breathing from head to toe. Not just the lungs moving in and out. They're expanding and contracting inside your ribs. That's fine, but imagine the whole body breathing from head to toe. Now, as your whole body is breathing from head to toe, do you feel your body start to want to rock? Yeah. You have just connected back into the wave of the breath of life. There is an actual energy that comes from the universe and goes back down into the earth through you. When your solar plexus is closed, it's not going through you. And that energy is the healing energy of the universe. How many of you want the healing energy of the universe going through your body instead of beside your body? Okay, open the solar plexus. I want you to just exaggerate that wave just a little bit. Let your body rock just a little bit. In that wave. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to gently bring our head forward just a little bit. Put a little bit of stretch on the spine, and when you inhale, feel those lungs filling up to the back ribs and just gently reaching out to massage that back of your spine. We're going to do 2 or 3 breaths. Feel that stretch through your whole back as those lungs just move in to press against those back ribs, massaging the spine and the back ribs and the back. Didn't know you could get a back massage just by standing and breathing, did you? This is a great back massage for you to give yourself a couple times a day and get that energy in your back open. Bring the chin up, straight up. And as you're standing now, you realize your thumbs are just naturally just fall in toward your body. This time as you take a breath, imagine your lungs reaching up to the top of your shoulders, and you're just going to gently just fold the hands out like this. As you exhale, bring the thumbs back in. Inhale, bring the thumbs out. Exhale, rest and bring the thumbs back in. We're putting some motion in the shoulders, that block of concrete just below your head. We're softening that block of putty. We're turning you into Gumbies. Now, the next time I want you to feel your lungs coming right out, you're going to move these front ribs. And it's going to, if you put your hands out like this, imagine that your lungs would be actually reaching out to your hands here. But your hands are down here. You're going to move them up about 3 or 4 inches, and you're going to stretch. And when you rest, thumbs come back in. Inhale, thumbs out. Exhale, thumbs back in. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth, thumbs come back. Good, you're good. The next set of breathing, we're going to come down into the abdomen. The lungs are going to press down into the abdomen as you go up about, 6 or 8 inches. You're really giving your body a workout here. They're getting the massage of a lifetime. One more breath. Now we're going to imagine the lungs coming right down into this pelvic cradle. Arms out, almost equal to your shoulders. And when you exhale through the mouth, thumbs come down, making snow angels, right? I come from Wisconsin. I know how to make snow angels. We're going to come up a little bit further. We're going to imagine our lungs reaching all the way down to the bottoms of our feet, all the way to our tippy toes. The next breath, I want you to stretch out as far as you can and feel the lungs pressing up to the top of your shoulders again. Again. Feel those lungs reaching all the way up here and stretch out as far as you can. Okay, just rest for a minute. Feel your whole body breathing from head to toe. Do this every morning for the next 2 weeks, and all of your ropes and pulleys will have gone back into place. You may sit down. I saw some of you may have felt your tendons pop in. Energetically, I saw it happen for some of you. If I were a therapist and I've got someone here who's really stuck and in pain, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you, when you inhale, feel your lungs reach up to your shoulders, rest when you exhale, and allow the shoulders to just rotate back when you inhale and come forward when you exhale, just a little bit, don't over exaggerate. And I'm just going to put just a little bit of torque on her tendons. I'm not stretching real hard, it's just like an elastic band, and we're just providing some torque. There it went. Did you feel it pop in? No, that one's still not in, is it? And again. That one already popped in, but I'm going to provide a little bit more torque just to get the supporting tendons into place. Now she's going to have to repeat this exercise. Why? Because these tendons have been trained to be out of place for a very long time, and they're going to want to pop out on their own. Now what we're going to have you do is, I'm going to have you turn this direction for the video camera, turn away from me. That's good, right there. I want you to imagine your lungs reaching up to touch my hand. We're actually going to have her breathe into her atlas, and when she does this, her skull will open up. And this is what you would do with somebody who has dyslexia. You can have them imagine the skull expanding when they inhale, rest as they exhale, or have them breathe right up into the atlas, and it will open the skull. Her skull has been pretty tight. Can you feel the skull loosening?
Hope so.
She's been in a lot of pain, and so she's also tightened up her skull. Now what I want you to do, sweetheart, is imagine your lungs reaching back to your tailbone, right where my hand is. Right down here. Touch my hands with your lungs. There you go. This one's really tough. Takes a lot of concentration. It's kind of like patting your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time when you're not used to doing this. Now, where the pain is, I want you to feel your lungs going down and feel your lungs actually moving right into that part of your body where the pain is. She's been in this way for a while, so the tendons and everything aren't moving real fast, but I'd like you to do 10 of those breaths 3 times a day, right to where the pain is. What she's doing when she's breathing to where the pain is, she is actually increasing the movement of the photon energy, allowing the light, the love within her cells to heal herself. And this is how I healed myself of multiple sclerosis, sending that energy into my brainstem with my lungs, reaching in and breathing for hours a day until my body just healed itself. Feel any better?
I hope so.
Okay, now feel your body breathing from head to toe. Feel the wave. Let yourself get into the wave. Let yourself dance as though there's music in the room. Feel the hips moving. And I want you to dance through life instead of walk. So I want you to dance back to your chair. Shoulders moving, hips moving, whole body moving. You're going to dance in the wave. Back. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now, how we walk in the wave is we want every bit of our rib cage to be open and moving every breath, every step that we take. You cannot do that and hold your hips still. So ladies, you're going to have to look sexy. You can't help it. So you get into the wave and you feel yourself, and you start doing this at home, and I want you to exaggerate it so that you'll look kind of sort of normal when you're in public. But at home, you put on the music and you feel your body move and you feel your hips move and you let yourself walk and move and glide and move this whole body, and you actually feel the body. Now, I don't know, when you get out in public, you don't have to exaggerate it, but you just lift and open your solar plexus and you're going to end up walking like this. And it doesn't look so much like a sexy walk as an empowered walk. Your head automatically stays up straight. Your shoulders automatically stay back because the solar plexus is open. But every part of your rib cage, your hips are moving, and everything is staying lubricated. The knees are staying lubricated. The toes and the feet and the arches and every part of your body is receiving that movement of synovial fluid in your body, and you start reversing that aging process. The brittleness of your bones, they start becoming fluorescent, and they actually start reversing and becoming cartilage. as you raise your vibrations and you continue to stay in this wave as you walk, man, you'll end up looking more like John Travolta or John Wayne. It's a real nice, sexy walk. And as you do this, and you raise your vibrations, there's an electron transfer that's taking place in your body. How many of you remember Biology 1 and you were told that you're a carbon-based unit? However, we have these carbon-based cells. But as we raise our vibrations, an electron transfer is taking place and the carbon is becoming silica. And as the carbon becomes silica, what's silica? Crystals. So you're becoming crystalline beings. One of the first things you're going to notice tomorrow, go out in the sunshine during the noon hour break, and you will see crystals in your skin. You will see twinkles in your skin. Those are the crystal cells that are already turning. So every time you focus, somebody called me a Pollyanna today, and I said, that's a nice compliment, thank you. But I said, if you don't think I know what's going on, you've got another thing coming. But I refuse to sit in the mire and focus on distress, because every time I do, I lower my vibrations and I go back into my carbon-based body. I like my crystalline body, thank you very much. And as I'm focusing on the delight and the magical miracles and happiness and joy and sitting back and saying, my, isn't that interesting, whenever there's a distress, and pulling myself back into the observing rather than the participating mode, I am continuing to raise the crystalline body. What happens? That's a light body. I'm moving my photon energy. I'm changing my body structure. The way that you will notice as your bones start to become cartilage, you don't have to get a knife and slice yourself open. Just look in the mirror and look at your teeth. And if your teeth are becoming translucent, opalescent, your bones are doing the same thing. They're turning into tubes of light inside of your body. How many of you have ever heard of taking shark cartilage as a supplement? What's going to happen when your bones are cartilage in your body? No, you're not going to turn into a shark. Well, maybe you will. Whatever. Your choice is yours. I won't flaunt your free will choice. But I'm going to have an incredible immune system, because that's what you're taking it for in the first place, right? So you can see the crystal in your skin. You can see the opalescence coming into your teeth as your bones are becoming fluorescent tube of light. Your skull starts to change shape. You're actually going to get your soft spot back so you can have, what? Fluid intelligence? Did we hear somebody talking about that this morning? Fluid intelligence is a natural state of being. We've just been so suppressed that we haven't accessed it. Where most people are only using 3 to 5% of their brain, you've got to use a little bit more of that to have fluid intelligence. But as you continue to evolve, you will start using 6%, then 7%, then 8% of your brain, and suddenly you're going to be in this place of fluid intelligence. But it's going to happen gradually and easily and wonderfully. Most of you will lose your memory, because you don't need one. You will automatically know things in the moment. Did you get what I'm saying, the difference between knowing and memory? If you know everything in the moment, you don't need a memory. So sometimes there's a little confusion going on in the brain, and some of you may be experiencing that as your skull is shifting shape. Oh! And we're activating the fountain of youth. I knew there was one more thing I had to talk about. In the beginning of time, there was no such thing as death. Death had to be created. How many of you have ever seen Valentine's heart? Does anybody's heart look like that? No. What do you think he ever came up with that? That's such a silly thing. In the beginning, the heart center looked like that. And then, in able to create death, the physical heart had to be separated into two parts. And it was severed. That was part of the death process. How many of you have ever gone to a scary movie? How many of you would like to stay in that scary movie for the next 2 weeks? 2 hours is enough, right? The reason death was created was so you could come in here and have an experience, leave, come back and have another experience, leave. It was the doorway to leave. Once we rejoin this, you guys are going to have to figure out a different way to get out of here. Okay, now, so put your thinking caps on. Let's take a look. Here's our heart. Well, could be a little longer than that. Meant to do that in red. Let me do that again. Here's our heart. It's a pump, and it has 4 chambers in it. Just above that heart are 2 little lobes, and those 2 little lobes look like 2 little lungs, and they're called the thymus gland. And science tells us that as we age and degenerate, the thymus gland shrinks and shrivels. I'm going to suggest the thymus gland shrinks and shrivels, you age and degenerate. If you could stop the shrinking of your thymus gland, you could stop the aging process. How many of you met this wonderful man walking around today who looks like he's in his 20s, maybe 30, who is 70 years old? Any of you meet him?
Who is he?
I don't know his name. I'm a man. Those of you with psychic sight can look in and see the size of his thymus gland. Do you know that there were many people born 50, 60, 70 years ago, and the doctors irradiated their thymus glands? Any of you remember when that was happening? Because they had enlarged thymuses? Those enlarged thymuses allowed those people who didn't have them touched, they look like they're in their 20s and 30s today, and then in their 60s and 70s. They did not age. They absolutely did not age. And you find them here and there. Usually they won't admit to you how old they are because they look so young. So what we do is we're going to do an attunement where we'll actually start opening up the thymus gland. And as we open up the thymus gland, it will expand and, oh, look like that. Mickey Mouse. And we have our original heart back. I don't know if you can see my thymus gland and how large it is. It literally protrudes from my body. 20 years ago, a homeopathic physician told me that my thymus gland was like 2 dried up peas in a walnut shell. It was totally dead. There was no life force, and I would never have an immune system as long as I lived. Tee-hee. We breathe that thymus back to life, and tonight we're going to breathe your thymuses back to life. And so feel this area of your body right now. Some of you may already have started this thymus growing, and you can feel this lump here on your body. And if you don't have it, feel later. Some people, when they do this exercise, one side opens up and they look like they have one little robin's egg on one side. Don't worry, the other one will catch up as you repeat the exercise. We're literally going to visualize during the breathing process that our thymus gland is opening like an accordion bell with each breath. And we're going to allow the thymus gland to reopen and reconnect to the chambers of the heart. The thymus gland is the 5th chamber of the heart. The resonance of the soul, we talked about the resonance of the soul this morning. The resonance of the soul comes through the thymus. And when that thymus is touching the heart, we send the resonance of the soul through the bloodstream to the rest of the cells of the body and awaken them to their original blueprint of health and vitality. That inside our attunement, we're going to do a short attunement now where we're going to breathe the entire body, and then we're going to end with the fountain of youth where we're going to breathe the thymus, and we're just going to feel that heart and thymus expand and become one. The lady with the toe, Robin. Before we do the attunement, because after I do the attunement, Rich will be coming back on. But do you have anything to say about your toe?
Mm-hmm. Well, this morning we sent the long breath to the toe.
And you need to know, how many days ago was your toe broken?
It's been a week.
1 week ago, they broke her toe to do some bunion surgery? Bunion correction. And she's been in pain. Okay.
And so we sent the breath throughout the body and certainly to the toe, into that area. And shortly thereafter, after we circulated the breath, you know, I realized had been doing all that holding and breath holding with the pain for so long. And I was able to let it go and started dancing.